What a thrill, with darkness and silence through the night. What a thrill, I'm searching and I'll melt into you. What a fear in my heart, but you're so supreme. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be no one else. Crime, it's the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater.
Now we can fight as warriors. Hand to hand. It is the basis of all combat. Only a fool trusts his life to a weapon.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Worldwide Company of Gamers podcast. This is episode 26. We are live. Let me know how the audio is, if it sounds a-okay for you guys. Oh, look at that sexy panel that we've got here. It's going to be a good show tonight, fam. We have Doomsayer, special guest Doomsayer, along with his panel member Retro. We also have Akira, Oti, Wilhelmovsky, and a few other panel members may be joining at some point throughout the show, depending on whether they can or not make it. But shout out to all of you awesome individuals in the chat. We have 47, Dejuan Thompson. I'm sorry, I forget. I struggle with your first name, buddy, but I recognize that name off Twitter. Good to see you here. Ice Queen Gaming, what's good, Dawn? Is it Dejan? I think it's Dejan. Is it Dejan? Is that how you say it? Pronounce it?
Jonathan. Sorry, William.
Dewan.
Yeah.
Dewan. I'm so sorry. I'll tell you what, I'm so bad. I'm so bad at my pronunciation. I apologize, Dewan. But thank you for correcting me, Doomsay. I appreciate that. So I want to say your name correctly. Jonathan Martinez, what's good? We've got Bender of Strings. Great to see new names here as well. We've got Antoango yet again. Great to see you here again, brother. Recognize you from last week. Awesome stuff. Good evening, everyone. Gaming Despair, what's good? Guys, what a show we have in store for you tonight. Let's, before we introduce the panel, we'll just give a quick rundown of what we have to look forward to. So we have a big juicy topic about Activision Blizzard. Yep, they're at it again. Yet more trouble has surfaced. Shout out to Demetrius. I'm not sure if he's here yet in the chat, but he shared a link to this article pointing to a new lawsuit raised by shareholders. Eek. So we're going to cover that. We're going to have a look at February. I'm struggling like Akira tonight. I'm struggling to say February. February's games, and we're going to have just kind of review and touch base with the greatness that we've been experiencing this month, guys. I know it's been a bit of a sobering and difficult month with all that's going on in the world at the moment, specifically Ukraine, but it's still good to talk about gaming and to keep our hobby alive. And so let's just focus on some of the good times before all of this crap went down, and focus on what we've been playing and what's been helping us kind of along to forget about things. We also are going to be looking at censorship and covering whether or not it's specifically, in all circumstances, anti-developer, or if there's more nuance to it. We're going to get the panel's thoughts. Would love to hear that. And we're going to have a look at the sexy reveal of the PSVR2, the new look that they've given the headset, and what we all think, and why also VR is a strategically brilliant move. With that out of the way, let's get down to the intros. Very, very honoured to welcome special guest Doomsayer. It's awesome to have him on for the first time. I'm a big fan of his podcast. You really should check it out. In fact, I'd say that if you enjoy this podcast, you would definitely enjoy his. Kind of touch on similar beats in many ways. Kind of got a similar kind of vibe going down. So which is awesome. So how are you, Doomsayer, bro? You well?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for the awesome words and that stuff. Just be kind of a little nervous with your panel here, so except for my brother from another Irish mother. He just left, so I guess I scared him. There he is. He's back. No, I'm doing great in that. Got took care of everything I needed to take care of with the 2 shows today, and I'm ready to hop into these subjects.
Awesome, guys. I'm having crazy connection issues right now. I apologize for the instability. If it's going a little bit crazy for you guys, I do apologize. Try and get this sorted. Apologies for this. Hopefully it'll balance out and stabilize again in a minute. It's freaking awesome that you're here, Doomsayer, and thank you for being with us tonight. I've been following you for a long time on Twitter, and you and Retro have a pretty awesome thing going on with the Doomsayers Network podcast. I love it's got a vibe of David Jaffe going as well, because you just throw in pretty hilarious kind of almost interactive segments of the show, makes the audience feel really engaged, and it's freaking hilarious. Like I was watching an episode of your show just the other day, and it started off with me in tears. Literally the first 3 minutes were just comedy gold, because you played this hilarious clip of some kind of British girl standing aground, kind of shooting down this guy who was assuming in public that she's suddenly his girlfriend, and she was savage in her response. And you were like, what's your thoughts, Retro? Like, is this what all British women are like? And he said, what was it you said, Retro? Something about that's how London girls are, man. They gotta look after themselves. And
the washer machine. They sound like washer machines.
Yeah.
Let's do it all, man.
He said not a fan of the accent though. They sound like washing machines, but good on them for standing the ground. Some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was, mate. It just had me dying. It was just so funny.
We went through a little bit of phase last year, and bringing Retro in was I keep telling him, like a breath of fresh air. He just has a good sense of humor, and the quick wit and things like that. So that's basically what the Sunday show is. I want to get you and your wife on. I got a special show for you and your wife. Whenever you get time, I'd love to have both of yous on. So just to hear you guys laugh is priceless to me. So.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm not sure how she would feel, but I'll do my best to try and get her on. You're gonna love her accent, I tell you. She's got a proper broad Oldham accent. So
I love the British accent. I keep telling my wife, and she keeps getting pissed off at me. So it's
awesome. Gotta love the wives, man.
Oh yeah.
So speaking of Retro, how are you, my dude? It's great that you're here again. Retro.
Sorry, man. My little son decided to come in there and just start causing havoc. He's just throwing the dog's toys around, and the little one gets a bit yappy there, so I had to mute myself.
Oh,
What
no
was the
worries.
question?
How are you doing? Are you well?
I'm very well, man. I'm very well. Chuffed to bits to be asked to come on again. You know I love this show and everybody on it, so real chuffed to be here. And Doom, stop overhyping me, man. It's ridiculous. You need to stop that.
You keep your mouth shut. I'm gonna be muting you on Sunday, so I love you, dude. I love you, especially the croc thing. You know.
Oh no, that's genuine. That is not even me joking. I hate Crocs. If I ever get a hold of your Crocs, I am melting every single pair in the oven.
I got a couple of them, so don't worry. I got backups. Sorry.
But yes, Willie,
Hey, yo,
appreciate
forgive me, guys. What is Crocs?
Isn't that
what?
the footwear?
They're
What are Crocs?
Isn't that footwear? Crocs?
Yeah, those are like those
There.
shoes, those that have holes.
It's like this rubber footwear.
Yeah.
Crocs.
that's exactly
Oh, I was floating when you said you wanted to.
Is that a British thing?
Crocs.
I'm not even sure.
I got the ones right now since it's cold because the insulated ones, but Retro hates them with a passion. I don't know how many DMs I've gotten of the Crocs getting put into flamethrowers and the toenails were coming out of them. They were like almost 3 feet long or something. It's nasty.
Yeah. Oh, that one freaked me out, man.
Shout out to my good brother Oti. How you doing, bud? You well?
Hey, I'm doing well. Just been so busy. Because of work has been crazy. But I've been trying to play Horizon, and I've just been taken away. Sometimes I wake up very early just to play. That's when you know the game is special, So it's just been work on Horizon.
Been sleeping 4 hours every day for Horizon.
Damn.
The struggle is real.
No, man. I mean, even right now, Pollock is still playing. Like, I'm like, you know what? I'm turning it up. No, I'm not turning it up. I'm just gonna do some side quests and stuff.
I feel you, bro.
It's addicting.
It really is.
It's hard to put down.
Something else. I just wanted to ask everyone in the chat, how's the connection? Is it somewhat stable? Is it running okay for you guys? I'm seeing really low numbers on my connection right now, and just a bit concerned. I do apologize, fam. What's good about Wilhelm? Hey, brother, how you doing?
And I'm doing great. Finally back. Wasn't there last week, which happened to be our most popular episode as of now. Fucking great that I wasn't there. The reason as well is to me in retrospect kind of stupid. But basically why I wasn't there. Me and my cousin Al were like anticipating there was like this YouTuber boxing match thing going on here in Germany, and why we were so anticipating it because the people who were boxing against each other were like the biggest memes in Germany, so it was pure comedic gold from the get-go. And we also played
YouTubers.
Yeah. I can't
What's their name?
The first match was Apparet versus.
Holy shit! It's Apparet. I actually watched that guy.
Apparet, yeah. And the second one was Leon Mascher versus Standard Skill.
That one I'm not familiar with, but I know Apparet because I watch Iblali and I watch Lee Floyd and Tadl, and it seems like they're all friends basically.
But that Apparet used to be like the YouTube villain, but right now he's actually kind of popular for whatever reason because he's doing like whatever for some reason.
And
like
during a boxing match. Huh?
Yeah, they did it. Yeah, they did one. And my cousin and I, we also placed bets on those fights. So we We also have like place bets before. There was like before that like an MMA fight between two influencers. Like one was a fucking junkie, the other one jerked off in a train. I don't know why they're so popular, but well,
Jeez.
they fought, and I
Like
placed
stupid shit. Yeah.
and I placed my bet on a junkie, which is why I lost because the junkie was fucking stoned during the fight.
Well, he is a junkie, so I mean,
Ah.
we expect, right?
So I hope to get some of that money back on that battle, and it was supposed to like take place like at 6 p.m. But it dragged on because there were so many other rookie fights which we didn't give a crap about. We wanted to see those memes punching each other, and we wanted to see who gains his money back. Ultimately, we decided that no.
Your connection has just dipped, brother. Your voice has gone quieter and quieter.
Is it better now? My fucking connection is kind of fucking garbage. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's a little bit, a little bit.
I, feck's sake. But you hear me now, well? Do you hear me now? Is it better now?
Yeah, that's better.
Still very
yeah.
pain.
Sound good.
We ultimately decided, well, it turns out nobody won any money because we placed $10 per fight, and there were two battles. The first bet, I won. The second one, he won. So nobody gained anything out of it. Even though I offered to double down, he turned down because he saw it was fucking garbage.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a travesty, and I'm so ashamed that I've wasted so much time on that. It was
Bless
still
you, mate. Bless you. You win some, you lose some, eh? Speaking of, shout out to Tony Twist. Remember when all of you guys said that Xbox would do nothing new with Activision? I'm trying to recall us ever saying that, my dude. And what are you referring to exactly? Because I do specifically remember us saying it will be years before something significantly beneficial for Xbox players other than Game Pass Day One would actually come out of the pipeline. It would be at least half a decade before any kind of meaningful results come from this. It's a long game investment, you know. I think them delaying Call of Duty for a year is a fantastic idea, and it's definitely one that's a long time overdue. In my opinion, I think the quality of Call of Duty will benefit greatly from an extra year in the oven, which it needs, in my opinion. So if that's what you're referring to, then I don't. No, I don't specifically are saying that they'll never do anything new with Activision, but anyway, feel free to correct me though. I'm all for that, and appreciate your comment. Shout out to Isabella Luxury and a new name in the chat. Great to see you here. Nosferatu 1, what's up? Good to see you, brother. As always, Big Buds, Yellow. So let's get on with the show. Great to see all the panel here. Mr. Faulkner will be joining us in an hour or so. Shout out to him in the chat. It's great to see him here as always. So let's start off first of all talking about the February games that we've been playing, guys. I don't know about you, but this has been one of the, for gaming specifically, one of the best months we've had. I don't, in my opinion, for a long time. And I don't want to sound insensitive to the situations going on in the world, politically speaking, but trying to keep that separate for this podcast. Can we just make believe, maybe, perhaps, and kind of just focus purely on the gaming aspect of things? If we could separate the two. The quality of the content we're getting this month has just been incredible. And I just wanted to ask you guys if you've been playing Horizon, Elden Ring. Have you managed to play both yet, or are you just too invested in one over the other? Sifu, Witch Queen, any of them? And what are your thoughts? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. So I'm well, of course, Platinum Seafo is amazing game, and it's getting an update on May. I've heard. I'm definitely gonna jump back once the update is up. Horizon. So I cannot. No, I did not buy Elden Ring yet because when I realized how big Horizon really is, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be done with this game for a bit. So I hold off on buying that to focus on Horizon. And then the main problem is that after Horizon, I got like 4 games in my head that's lined up already. And with Elden Ring being how big it is, I don't think I'll be able to spare the time yet. After Horizon, I'm gonna get Shadow Warriors 3 March 1st, and then I'm going to get.
You're not getting that on
I know.
PS now. No, you're gonna stick to.
No, I won't. I'm buying the game.
Good. Yeah. That's
Like I already planned. And then yeah, I'm gonna play Animal from the China Hero Project, Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins, and of course Ghostwire Tokyo. I pre-ordered a steelbook for that. So yeah, I got a lot of games. I cannot play Elden Ring yet. Maybe it's also for the better. Maybe they might start fixing some shit. When by the time I'm playing it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, right now I just can't. There's just so many games, and I cannot risk to play another gigantic game, which is Elden Ring. But otherwise, I'm addicted as hell to Horizon. Again, I'm playing for 75 hours. Haven't finished the main story yet. I'm just having a lot of fun.
I'm like probably 50 hours into it, and only recently I've just started kind of beaming the main quests, but I'm still forever getting sidetracked by side quests and exploration.
The side quests are just so well done. I think now to thing is the reason why this, in my opinion, why the side quest in Horizon Forbidden West, aside from being so well done, it's just you feel like you want to play it. The reason is, I think technically the side quest gives emphasis to the characters within the main story. So I noticed this thing where, for example, if you're gonna play the main story straight, right? It's the only part you're going to get, for example. But then if you play some side quests while playing the main story, it seems like Aloy or the other characters gets more dialogue within the main story for more emphasis on what's going on with with the world of Horizon Forbidden West. And I think this kind of like what would drive you to play as much side quests as you can to have as a complete experience for your main story, putting more emphasis in every character and flesh them out way more than they are. Even though the main story is really well done, if you would play it straight, I think the fact that it just makes the world become more alive than it already is I think what shines the most in Horizon Forbidden West, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's kind of like how I see it with this one.
Big facts. No, I hear you, brother. Loud. Yeah, I agree. It's crazy. What about anyone else in the panel about the games that they're playing right now, and what's the thoughts?
I'll give my thoughts real quick. I can't play any games because I'm trying to learn way too much stuff with trying to edit and figure out how to do CANVA just to make the podcast a lot better. So hopefully after this week I'll be able to get back there. But I'd love to. I'm dying to get back into, and this is not one of the February games, but GT, because the new one's coming out, and I need to kick Retro's ass. So,
Gran Turismo. Oh yeah.
I'm just going to take him out. So
I use CANVA too. In fact, this entire background, this entire podcast is done on CANVA. Everything, the moving background, the lights, the flame, everything. If you ever need advice or a hand on stuff, I'd be glad to help you out, bro.
Wooly, I'm gonna pick your brain, man. Then
yeah, man.
I need as much help as I can. So
I'm no expert, but I managed to kind of pull off a bit of trickery with a bit of fluke. Got my podcast looking exactly how I wanted it. I kind of transitioned from a bare bones basic template that Saltiest Gaming sent me to just to help me out for the first couple of episodes to my first design, which was like a brick background with a neon light, and it looked a bit dark and depressing, not gonna lie, like a late night New York jazz bar, which is awesome if there was music, but it's a gaming podcast, you know, we're not listening to soulful jazz music and and saxophones playing whilst I don't know, dancing with a pretty lady. So it was just a little bit too mellow. So I managed to kind of upgrade it again to this, and I was so happy with it. I've just not changed it since. It's just become quite iconic for me, really. But yeah,
I love everything that you've done, from your intros to what you have on screen. I enjoy a lot of it. I'm just trying to learn it as quickly as possible because I got to trying to do videos with a buddy of mine, so I'm like trying to cram all this into the small head that I have. So I haven't had no time. I mean, I did try Horizon for about 25 minutes. I can't wait to get back into that. It'd be nice, but as of right now, I'm just trying to get that stuff out of the way so I can concentrate on gaming after.
I don't blame you, bro. Facts. Well, you're in for a treat, my guy. Horizon is just... I can't believe how invested I am in this game, considering I did not enjoy the first one. Like, at all. I really didn't. Nothing about it captivated me. It felt like... I felt playing Horizon Zero Dawn how I felt playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. In all honesty. For me, it was just... but the difference is I managed to complete Horizon Zero Dawn. Just about. Got through it. I enjoyed the DLC more. But yeah, it was a struggle for me. I don't know why, but just this game has so much more to it that I'm just loving. OT, what about you, my dude?
For me, it's just really basically been Horizon, because for some, we're having an election year this year, and my business sometimes can be a bit intense because people want to market their buildings before the elections, because you don't know how business will be after elections. So this year is gonna be crazy for me, so I'm consistently busy. But Horizon has been a joy. Every chance I can get, I play Horizon. I'll be honest with you, the side quests for me is what has really made me bond with that game. And in fact, today I had a guy who loves Zelda, and he was just watching me play, and the guy was just like, there are elements in this game he wished Zelda would have. And I was telling him, yeah, exactly, especially when it comes to the side stories. But what I wanted to ask you guys was, even though Horizon is good and it's great, what were some of the issues you guys had with Horizon? I was just wondering if they're similar to mine.
Does anybody else want to go first?
This is a crazy thing, right? I've been hearing a lot of people getting issues, but I'm really not getting any of them. I think I only had I think there's only one glitch I had, which was easily fixed by reloading my save. Was this the melee the melee attacks stop working basically. Basically, what happens whenever you press melee.
I know we've already discussed the bugs, but I was talking from a gameplay perspective, what is it you'd say like, oh, they did this, but I wish they didn't.
Well, technically, I really have none. But if I would need to find one, I think maybe just maybe more melee. I think that's it. Otherwise, I don't know. Otherwise, I got really no complaints. Hard to find a complaint for me here. Yeah, it's kind of like how I see it. Yeah, more melee, I think. Otherwise, it's just Yeah, yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, for me, I found the intro far too Horizon Zero Dawny. The
Same.
first 2-3 hours underwhelmed the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds really critical, and I don't know, take it how you want. To me, I was like, if the game is just this, then I wouldn't be continuing to play it. But the moment you hit the reach the what's it called, the that area, I keep forgetting the name, not the ward. It's like the
Forbidden West.
yeah, no, it's before the Forbidden West, but it's the first bit you reach, like on the car. You get the
Dawn?
cable car. The Daunt, that's the one.
Yeah, the dawn.
Oh yes.
Reach
Yeah.
the moment you reach the
Ages-
Daunt.
Yeah.
I got goosebumps. Like, it made me emotional. It was freaking incredible with the music and the scale and
Yeah.
the scope of the game, and then the exploration is so rewarding.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that very much. But yeah, the first 2 hours didn't, or 2-3 hours didn't flatter the game for me at all. And you know, there is a few nitpicks here and there that I could find if I really looked. But overall, I'd say this game is offering me a truly complete experience. It's kind of scratching every itch I could ask for from an open world game for me.
I would say they need to rework the climbing. It can be a bit hit and miss.
Yeah.
I think that could be somewhere. Now, don't get me wrong. I think they've improved it from the first game, but I think it could have done with an extra bit more care.
I agree.
The what?
Yeah, there's some places.
The
The
climbing,
climbing. Sometimes it's
Oh, climbing. Okay.
you can kind of end up in
Yeah.
places where you've got nowhere to go and stuff like that, and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
I
it could,
agree.
but it is better than the first game, definitely.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
like
it
they were.
is.
It's almost as if they were filling in every rock to be climbable, then gave up like a
Yeah.
quarter of the way
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly how it feels. Yes.
Yeah, that's perfect.
There are
Actually.
random
Yeah.
like handles in the most random of spots with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
But at the same
Yeah.
time, I kind of like the uncertainty in a way of like, right, how do I reach this bit, and kind of
Yeah.
figuring it out. Like in Dying Light 2, I managed to get to the very top of the tallest skyscraper before I unlocked the rope swing, the grapple rope. I still haven't unlocked the grapple. I still haven't unlocked the grapple rope on Dying Light 2 yet. I've been too busy farting
Neither.
around. But
Same.
Horizon Forbidden West has just completely taken me away from that game. But I managed to reach the top with just my hand paraglider and using the winds, the gusts, and boosting myself upwards. And I managed to get to a point that I wasn't supposed to reach until later on, and felt. Go on.
Was that your video? Did you share that?
No, I didn't. But I did.
Because I seen a video of someone doing something similar.
Yeah, but I saw that video after I had already done it. I was just committed. I was like, I'm getting to the top of this freaking building, and I don't care how long it takes me. And the kind of the sense of like the thrill of doing that was awesome, because I felt like I was, I don't know, like there was experimentation there. I do apologize for this buffering, guys. I'm really sorry about the quality here. There's nothing I can do. I have no idea what's going on right now with my system. I don't know why this is happening, but hopefully I can figure it out. Because
You're not on
2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row, it's doing this now.
Are you on Virgin by any chance?
No, I'm on PlusNet.
No. All right, because I'm getting the same sort of issues with mine at the minute, with very dodgy like in and out connections and speed dropping and
I
stuff.
might swap my router out, change my router, because I'm getting sick to death of this. It's just like I'm at 18 megabytes per second, but in the red. It's still showing red. It's like the actual connection itself is playing up something rotten. I don't understand why, but
Yeah.
is what it is. We'll just have to make do for now.
You know, for me, one of the things that some of the things I think they could improve. Number one, definitely, I think the intro should have started at where Wooly said he started to just that area. Once you go down the lift, that for me was breathtaking. If that's how you're going to start a game, that for me would be similar. Okay, yeah, in a different way. But God of War started you off with a battle. That set the tone for this is a great game. Horizon should have started with that area to show you these areas are gonna take your breath away. At the beginning, my breath was not taken away.
It's true.
Second thing they could do is from Ghost of Tsushima, and I think I'm just quoting Solid Rev. Solid Rev said, "Ghost of Tsushima knows when to be a game." So that statement is true because you don't have to physically. Halo doesn't need to bend down and pick the herbs from the ground and stuff like that. Like, I wish there was something she had attached to her where, like, the petals would just vaporize, and so you see the dust go into like a pouch or something, so that it's a bit more like Ghost of Tsushima. So even if you press triangle, it's quick. It's just poof, rather than I need to duck down, bend down, pick it up. So small things like that sort of irritate me a little bit, but not that there's so much that's good that it overcomes that. And then the other thing they should have done, I think they should have done, is this game is screaming for a counter button, especially for human to human combat. When you look at Sifu has a counter that really makes you. If you remove the counter from Sifu, you're removing a big part of the game. And yet in Horizon, the way the enemies attack, I keep doing my Sifu counter by mistake because I was playing Sifu before this, and I realized intuitively I want to counter. And like you see, the way she has that paraglide thing, like imagine if you got a shield which could help you even counter massive impacts from certain kinds of dinosaurs, So, I just feel like it feels like it needs it. And I'm surprised they didn't put a counter, because that would change how you feel when you're fighting guys, human beings. I think those are the three main comments I'd have for what they could do with the next Horizon.
Facts. I think you hit some really good points there, OT, and I agree. I think that there are little things to this game that kind of tell me Guerrilla didn't have enough time to fully polish up the game to the degree that I think we would have been used to prior to COVID. But what they have delivered is just, for goodness sake, I was watching a video from Pio, Mr. Pio, on Twitter.
Yeah.
And the guy is a freaking nutter. He overrid a thunder, not a thunder jar, a Trematus. Yeah, a Trematus.
Yeah, Trematus.
And had it fight a thunder jar, and it was just such a freaking epic battle that I was seeing. It was like something out of King Kong versus Godzilla, it was just like some awesome battle, King of the Monsters kind of battle, and just so the spectacle was insane, and how this was happening in real time right before your eyes. And I got to the same area where the two giants were, and I was I was a bit underpowered, so I stayed above them on this ledge, just shooting them down, and I've fallen in love with the spinning disc, like the frisbee thing that you throw. It does the shredder, I think they're called. They do so much damage and so much, but they're so fun to use when you get the gist of knowing how to use them. Like whatever direction you're running in after you've thrown it, it'll arc in that direction, so you'll be able to catch it, and you can manipulate it, on the third throw, if both prior throws are caught back, if you've managed to catch it, the third throw explodes and does insane impact damage. And it's just such a satisfying weapon to use, and it's not too costly either to build to remake them. So I was able to take out the Thunderjaw and the Tremortusk purely with my spinning disc. I was just like, oh, and the sharp shot bow. I used the power shot move, using my weapon technique, and it's just insanely satisfying. The combat has really been elevated to a new level in this game. And for those saying that the melee combat hasn't been improved either, I agree there should be a parry. But at the same time, the idea of being aggressive but keeping it fresh and not using the same moves so the enemy doesn't learn them and block you and counter you is really, really awesome, because you can pull off some insane combos in Horizon if you know how to do the melee combat correctly. There's a lot of depth to it, a surprising amount.
I think the whole upgrade system is very well done.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Oh, it's fantastic.
You can
And you know
tell
what
I
I
have a
love
fetish
about
for ladders in this scene. I'm like, take a picture of this ladder scene, just like, it's so pretty.
You know, one of the things that put me off The Witcher, but I'm saying I was a bad Witcher player. This might be more my fault, but the upgrade system and the inventory system, upgrading your weapon system, I found it tedious. And I really like what Sony went for when they went for Horizon. They call it action RPG because they didn't want you to be stuck in the inventory system for too long. That's one of the things I really love about Horizon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's still, I think Skill Up brought home a really good point that there is still some things some decisions were made that were kind of questionable, like why do you have to continue to craft new ammunition? Why can't you just automatically have all the ammunition you need from the parts that you get, and stuff like that? But I guess it's which way you view it. Do you view that as adding another layer to think about, and it can be like an inconvenience during battle, which makes you go, oh shit, and it adds to the tension? I don't know, but it's an interesting one for sure. What about Elden Ring? Has anybody played Elden Ring yet?
Not me.
No, I'm saving it, man. I've got Gran Turismo coming up. I ain't got time for Elden Ring. It was Horizon or Elden Ring, and I'm more into my kind of Sony first party than I am third party. And Souls games I've never really done it for me. My wife plays them a lot. You'll be surprised. My wife plays them more than I do, so I know that it's going to be a purchase, but it's going to be a wait.
Yeah. No, I get that.
The problem for me
Elden Ring
is
story got spoiled.
Sorry, OT. You're botting a little bit.
Elden.
Could you repeat that?
Oh, sorry. Elden Ring story can't be spoiled in comparison to Horizon. You know, Horizon, if you take too long, Twitter, but Elden Ring, no one's gonna spoil you that story.
Yeah, no, I get you. I agree.
The problem for me is for one with Horizon is I think Forbidden West looks cool. Before I want to apologize in advance because my connection's also garbage. I also
no, you sound
like
good, bro.
no. Sometimes like my ping goes to 5,000, so I don't hear anything and I can't do anything. And I also have to change my router sometime because Vodafone is pissing me off and I hate them. But what I want to say is Horizon Forbidden West. I think it looks cool, but I still need to play the first one, and I haven't played that one yet. And with Elden Ring, even though I'm also not that big into Souls games, and I haven't really played them that much. I tried Bloodborne, but decided ultimately it ain't anything for me. Not because it's so difficult, but I gotta be honest, Bloodborne kind of bored me. To be honest, it didn't quite appeal to me. But Elden Ring looks kind of cool, and I do want to play it. But the problem is, I want to play it on my PC, but I heard that the PC port is not that good.
No, it's shocking. I've heard, yeah. And the PS5 port isn't great. I mean, it dips. Same with the Xbox Series X. I mean, I suggest the haptics don't do much in Elden Ring either, so I suggest downloading the PS4 version instead. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stop playing the PS5 version, download the PS4 Pro optimized version, and play it on the PS5 because that will give me a solid 60, and it looks pretty much the same. So, yeah, from that's a suggestion that's been given. I just want to show quickly people this insane screenshot I took. I'm well happy with it, you know. This is a screenshot of Horizon Zero Dawn, but just look at the grass, man.
Forbidden West.
Horizon Forbidden West. The moss. It's just nuts. Like the detail that we're seeing is just it's crazy. I can't get my head around how good it looks, you know. So yeah, that's
Well, just let me see that.
hold on, I'll just make it smaller so I can get it to scale. There we go.
I think it's better looking than Forza.
Oh, by far.
Because somebody sat there and said Forza was like the best looking game all generations.
Who said that?
No, it's Horizon.
I'm
I
not
don't know
gonna.
what they're talking about.
I'm not gonna repeat the name. Sorry.
Nothing to talk. I don't know what they're talking about, man.
Forza
I
looks
tweeted it.
nice at high speeds.
There is a lot, and I mean a lot, of shadow popping and draw distance things going on that people didn't seem to talk about.
Yeah.
People are saying photoshopped but I mean the quality on display here is just nuts. But yeah, when I took this picture, I was blown away at the detail that I was seeing. Like, I just couldn't believe this shit. That it still can't get my head around it. How good this game looks, especially for a cross-gen.
Wooly, remember Digital Foundry? When the first trailer came out, there was a crab, and they said the crab cannot possibly look that good in the game. They were doubting, but I find Horizon's funny animals on the side look incredible. Like, they modeled the weirdest things to detail.
Yeah, I think they use real photos, you know, modeled over animation, like animated photographs. That's literally what they look like. It's ridiculous. As for Elden Ring, I've managed to put about 3 hours into it so far, 3 or 4 hours, and yeah, it's amazing. I'm not invested in it to the point where, like, I can give a proper opinion about it as of yet, because I've not really spent enough time on it, but I am very excited to dive back in, and especially when I can team up with a buddy or play with someone online, because I prefer those kind of games not on my own, because I'm a bit of a wimp. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, to playing more of that. I just wanted to share the love. I've been playing a bit of The Witch Queen with Joey. Shout out to Joey Bats on Twitter. Been playing a bit of The Witch Queen with him, and that game is phenomenal. Destiny 2 is just wow. It's really amazing. A lot of people are saying that they're falling in love with Destiny 2 all over again, and I can see why. It's a really amazing game. And shout out to Salty's Gaming. He's addicted to Sifu still. He still hasn't platinumed it yet, so it's all he's playing at the moment, which is pretty cool. What's good, Gaming Despair? How you doing, bro? Gaming Despair's jumped on with us.
Hold on, one second. I got a phone call, bro. Hold on.
All right, no worries.
Yo, shout out to Bender in the chat, man. Throwing out some proper, like, old school, really good races, man. Rally Sport Challenge. Xbox, it was fantastic. It was one of the best rally. It was basically it outdid Sega Rally for me.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was really good. We got a sequel, but they never pushed it. I don't know why.
One of my
It was so
favorite
good.
races was Was it Snowstorm on PS1?
Snowstorm.
Was that what it was called? Snowstorm.
Yes,
It was like this
PlayStation.
motor sled game.
Oh yes.
It had this rock
PlayStation
song
one
that was
from
being played over and over and over again. It's like oh yeah, it was all that was being played on repeat over and over. But it was such a good game.
PlayStation 1 was a driver.
Or is it Sledstorm? Is that what it's called? Sledstorm. I can't remember. It was something.
I definitely remember that game.
Yeah.
David was saying about Ridge Racer 4. That was probably the best Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer Type 4, I believe it was called. That was a really good racer. Yeah, that was where they started bringing in like the team building aspect into it, and you could design your own liveries and stuff for your race team, and that it was class.
Facts.
Even though I'm not a big racing game guy, I gotta say I have some fond memories with Ridge Racer on the PSP. Like that, those are much simpler times, man.
Yeah.
Also, only played a few. Only played a few as well myself. Only racers I can remember that I played was, like I said, a driver. I played Burnout.
Oh, Burnout.
Need for Speed Most Wanted. I used to play it also on the PSP. It was I think it was Tokyo Drift, if I remember correctly. It was on the PSP. And then the last racer I played was the first Need for Speed for PS4. I forgot the name. The very first one.
Oh, Rivals?
You guys remember?
Yeah, Need for Speed Rivals.
Or is it Pro Street? Or wait, was it Rivals?
I'm pretty sure it was Rivals, the first one.
They had a really good police AI in that one. You know, they really chase you apart.
Most Wanted. I enjoyed Most Wanted the most. Need for Speed Most Wanted was on PS2. Was my favorite Need for Speed.
The reason why I played the Need for Speed for the PS4, the first one, because when I first got my PS4, I was really blown away by that game to see cars looking like that. You know, that game looked beautiful.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it. So yeah. So now I'm seeing cars in Gran Turismo. I'm like, that's real life right there. Somebody's gonna tell me otherwise.
Eating at my soul, people got that game early, man. I can't look on.
They just like PlayStation did a tweet like a 40. No, that was Gran Turismo's Twitter account. They did this 40-second tweet about the Tokyo racetrack. I believe
Tokyo Expressway, yeah, with the rain.
Yeah, and man, I'm sorry. Like, if I show it to someone who doesn't play Gran Turismo, I'm gonna tell them that's a real clip. It's from a movie or something. And yeah, they would actually believe me. They would actually believe me. It looks so real. It's crazy. Especially, that sunset mechanic that they have there. When the weather changes, and you got sunset.
Their lighting system is fantastic. It's like I would race a lot on the Behemoth track, which is the one in Germany. It's like 15 miles or something. You put that on like an evening time of day or something, and just it can look so realistic at times. It's scary, man. So I can only imagine what 7's going to be like.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's this guy.
Gonna be insane.
I'm doing him right here.
Speaking of GT7, I don't know if PSVR2 will ever be utilized with that. I imagine so. I can't imagine Kaz. GT7.
I think they're just waiting to talk more about the headset itself. I think it's going to be an announcement. It's got to be. There's no way that
VR2.
I just don't see it not happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what was your thoughts about PSVR2?
For
I
me?
can't wait. Day
Oh
one.
yeah, sorry, retro. Okay.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know who he was asking. I
No,
just
no,
assumed.
I don't know.
Retro, you first, bro.
I don't know as
Yeah,
well.
I'm definitely buying it. I was invested in the first one, and I loved what it brought, especially to racing games. There's an extra level of like input you get when you've got that in 3D. I don't know. It improves the way you drive. Like you can tell the positioning of your car and where you are on the track better. And it actually makes it quicker, man. You're just able to take the corners better and stuff. So I'm 100% on board. I'm buying that stuff day one.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. We're gonna see GT7 with VR support down the line.
Definitely getting PSVR2. I mean, I love VR. I've been playing VR for a while, for a long time now.
Yeah.
I keep telling everybody, the VR is very easy to get some. Basically, VR is actually very addicting. All it takes is one taste of that VR that you have fun with, and you will get hooked. That's kind of like how VR works. It's just one taste of a game that you think is fucking amazing, and you get that taste in, like with that one taste, and you're gonna get hooked, and you're gonna want to play more VR after that
happened
taste.
to you, Kara? What game's done that for you?
The game that has done that for me was it was Super Hot.
Oh, that
Super
game's
Hot
amazing
VR.
in VR. I played that yesterday in VR.
Yeah.
It was
Super
amazing.
Hot VR, like it's a workout, man. It was just so cool. You feel like a badass. And then of course, the next one that got me. Well, technically, aside from Super Hot, I think this game is the real taste of VR that I had. Why I decided that I'm gonna get the PSVR2 no matter what, which is it's Half-Life Alex. Half-Life Alex.
Yeah,
Half-Life Alex
I'm
is
impressed.
that taste of VR where I'm like, wow, this shit right here is, it is the real deal.
So
that kind of reaction.
That actually brings us to the
So-
point that I wanna ask you guys, and I wanna start with Doomsayer regarding PSVR.
Hey, by the way, Willie, I'm back, man.
Hey, brother, how you doing, gaming display?
Sorry
You
about
good?
that. Nah, yeah, I just had to talk to my boss real quick for a fucking random ass call. Sorry about that.
No worries. It's great to see you,
It's all good.
brother. I wanted to ask, and we'll start off with Doomsayer, if you're there, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. But PSVR2 is, I believe anyway, a strategically brilliant move, right? And I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, or if you kind of can read between the lines here. What PSVR2 is going to offer that VR really hasn't really offered since Half-Life Alyx and maybe Boneworks, if you include Boneworks in that. But like, I don't know if you see where I'm going with this, but is VR really a AAA experience at the moment?
I've never tried VR, but PSVR2 I'm looking forward to, just because exactly what Akira was sitting there saying, it gets me really excited. But it can be. I mean, Sony is putting their they went and they got devs. Was it Nixus and Fire? I think it's Fire Sprite to make the VR games, and they can go out and get third party to come in and help with that too. I think it would be a huge advantage that they would have over what Xbox has, because they would be bringing that third party AAA experience, and you're guaranteed to have somewhat. I can't say it's going to be every game, but Gran Turismo, you have the Horizon game coming out. Suppose they did something, Naughty Dog did something, Sucker Punch did something, Insomniac did something. Suppose they did something with Spider-Man. I mean, out of...
I'm not going to lie, a Spider-Man VR title would just be insane.
Right. But that's... They're providing something that is another AAA experience, in my point of view, that nobody else out there is really offering in that. It can, go against, and Half-Life Alyx. I mean, just think if they did, they brought that over. Well, there's another game that, the Xbox people are going to be upset because they don't have, and Sony is giving it to you. That's, that's why I've always preferred Sony, because they're giving me the experience that I want. Nothing against Xbox, but it's just the experience that I get from them is what I want, and I'm looking forward to this so much. Even my wife is. She did the Oculus, and she loved it. I mean, she really loved it. So I look forward to getting this and having that experience. Like Akira was saying, that experience that it draws you in, and you just don't want to ever stop. You're addicted to it, and that's the experience that I want. So, yeah, definitely a third AAA.
So, the thing is, with PSVR2, the reason why I think it's just why I think it's a smart investment, because so like I said, in VR it takes that one taste for you to get hooked on, and VR can really catch up. But the thing is, one of the main reasons why people don't try VR is, one of the main reasons is, motion sickness, for example. Motion sickness really stops anyone from enjoying VR. So that is very understandable reason. The others, of course, is, either they can't afford it, they're not interested, or they don't see anything yet that can hook them. But motion sickness is kind of like, in my opinion, one of the biggest reasons for it. So the fact that PSVR2 is trying to put a solution for motion sickness, which is eye motion tracking, is really big if it works. Because if that really, fixes if it fixes the motion sickness problem, VR is gonna get big. That's all I'm saying, because it's gonna fix this one of its number one problems, and if they feel that thing with games as well, just like what they showed there, the Horizon Call of the Mounted Man. I cannot wait to try that. I'm just fucking tall neck in front of you. I mean, cannot wait to try that shit. That would be spectacular. And those kind of experience, man. Yeah. Good.
Oh, sorry. Are you done? Sorry.
Go on.
No, I'm done.
Yeah. For me, my first experience with VR was I just landed in Oslo to see my cousin, and the husband had Resident Evil. Was it 7? There's one which has VR.
Resident Evil 7, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I just got there and I tried it, and it's the first time I was genuinely terrified by a digital character. I thought I was terrified before in other games, but the fact that I was sweating, I was like, my body was physically reacting to this guy chasing me around the house. That is an experience I've not felt for any other game, even though maybe I have experienced better made or written bad guys, but the fear was genuine while I was using that headset, even though the graphics were quite grainy. But one of the games I'm really interested in playing, but I don't think they'll ever do it, L.A. Noire. Was it called L.A. Noire? Yeah, the game where you look at faces, and then you try and see if he's lying or not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now imagine playing that with VR, where I'm looking at his face, trying to see if he's lying or not. So for me, VR, I'm more excited for the slow-paced games rather than like Spider-Man would be a good technical demo, but for me, I'd get dizzy. But games like L.A. Noire and such stuff, slower games, that's what I'm really looking forward to. Also, of course, Gran Turismo. And on another note, Gran Turismo definitely will have a VR experience, because those guys, any game which is already hitting 60 frames is halfway there. I think it's much easier to get that game to be VR than games which are looking so like a game like Horizon. This version of Horizon, to translate it to VR would be so difficult, so you have to make it for VR. But I think games like Gran Turismo that already hit 60, I think there's a good chance those games will have VR eventually.
Yeah, big facts. I agree. See, the thing is that why I think this is a huge opportunity for PlayStation is because, like we've touched on in the past, VR, it was touted to be a game changer, but there's been very, very few games introduced that take advantage of VR that are what I would regard AAA. Very few Half-Life Alyx or Bone Max material, right? I'm talking about full length experiences, meaty, substantial VR experiences, and there have been some games that are truly amazing where VR's been patched in, VR mode's been patched into it, like Resident Evil 7. But what PlayStation can do is focus purely on all of that, on AAA experiences, on retrospectively implementing VR into these games and bringing them into a whole new different light and experience. It offers such a, from a business standpoint, it offers Sony an amazing opportunity, but as consumers, it offers us an experience that we can't even get on PC because the one Spider-Man game there is on PC that's VR is so bare bones, so messy. It doesn't even have a full swing mechanic, so to speak. It has a zipline mechanic where basically wherever you point and shoot at, you zip toward it and then you fall. So it kind of like pulls you in like a grapple hook, right? But I mean, it's a very bare bones kind of experience and not very kind on the eyes either. And this is what I'm talking about. That there seems to be a hole in the market that Sony are very eagerly looking to fill, because they've literally said outright, we plan on delivering AAA VR experiences. And that's really exciting for me.
No, you're right. And, right now, for example, Doom and Hitman 3 VR are also fun as hell. If you have VR, you should try it, especially Hitman, right? I mean, the Hitman games are always fun, you like fuck around, especially Hitman 3. I mean, yeah, with Hitman. And basically in the Hitman VR, you can still do the same shit that you're doing, you can still fuck around. The only difference is you're in first person view, like you feel like you're the one doing the actions. It's a lot of dumb fun, but it's fun in itself, right? And it's kind of, again, VR got a lot of joy to bring, and if they can manage to fix one of its biggest problems and put a lot of games in there and show the real potential of the VR gaming, then it's gonna catch up. It's gonna work because I'm already hooked. I'm already hooked to it.
Yeah,
I'm already hooked to it.
Big facts. What about you, Gaming Despair? Are you a fan of VR? Are you thinking about VR2?
I've personally never actually got a chance to play VR, the first one. But then I ended up hearing about VR2, so I'm trying to get into it, but there was some time where I was actually thinking about VR. I was like, you know what, maybe I should give it a shot, but then with the announcement of VR2, I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to wait a little bit.
It's wise, bro.
But I have got some curiosity of it, and Odie was speaking something about and I was thinking about it too while he was saying it, the whole Spider-Man thing, what if a game like that gets you real dizzy because you're swinging real fast and then you're trying to look at every single location and shit. I don't think it'll affect me personally, but that's something to look into. But I think Akira was talking about the eye motion thing that's going to come with the PSVR2. So the good thing is that PlayStation is always going to try to do something that's more innovative, and that's something that attracts me to PlayStation, which was primarily the main reason why they're my go-to when it comes to gaming. But as far as VR2, I can't really speak on the experience, so I don't really have an input on that.
Shout out to Bender. He suggested a Titanfall VR game. I know you're a big fan of Apex Legends, so that would be pretty dope. And I agree. I love Titanfall 2, man. One of my favorite FPS games of all time, if not my favorite. It's right up there at the top for me. And yeah, VR at Titanfall experience would be nuts.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned Titanfall too, because I know that a lot of this stuff comes, to Apex Legends. That they have the similar weapons and all that
set in the
bullshit.
same universe.
I was actually,
apparently.
I was actually thinking about starting it yesterday, but I was supposed to do Martha is Dead, and I didn't get a chance to do that. Instead, because I pre-ordered Martha is Dead, and I got the DLC. I mean, not DLC, but it came with the bonus game. One of their first games that they made, I think, is called The Town of Light. Just to get a little bit just of it, and I was a little curious about it, so I checked it out. But I definitely got to check out Titanfall 2, man, because I've been hearing a lot of great things about that story. So I need to immerse myself in that.
You're in for a treat. It's got some of the best mission design in gaming. I shit you not. It's phenomenal.
Wooly,
Gotcha, man.
Can I just add one little thing? And here's another thing. Sony, okay? Let's just take the PlayStation thing and put it to the side. Sony as a movie company, and I've heard this from a bunch of people, that you have this PSVR. You create your own movie theater. You invite, hey, Wooly, come on over. Let's watch, Spider-Man. Let's watch, this movie or that movie. It's just not only a gaming experience, but they're like giving you the full experience of everything that they can, that they put out there. Just not only gaming, but movies, even maybe like virtual reading and things like that. Like you're actually taking and you're turning a page of a book that maybe you bought through, say, like Amazon or something, but you're able to sit there and put your VR headset and say, "Oh, let me turn this page." You're not really turning it, but in VR you are. Sony just has the capability of just making this so big in that, and then everybody with the the metaverse. If PlayStation would bring back, which I've heard many a times, PlayStation 3 had PlayStation Home. Imagine what that would actually look like with VR. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Straight away, they take out the loading from it too because of the SSD.
PlayStation
You know
Home
what
was
I mean?
special, man. There was something about that.
The biggest problem was the loading between each of the sections. Every time you wanted to go to something different, there was a loading screen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
All of that would be gone.
It's the same with the Vita, Sony have always introduced shit way too early that it just wasn't the right time. You could say the same about Xbox, but for all the wrong reasons. but with PlayStation, like they introduced arguably the most impressive handheld device in terms of technically, shit so impressive. Yeah, it just wasn't, the world wasn't ready for it, man. And it's same with some of their games. The world wasn't ready for games like, The Order 1886. It would have been absolutely appreciated today because people are sick to death of the gas mechanic that's ruining experiences like Assassin's Creed.
I played that very recently. I found it to be very good. A lot of people seem to slate it for story and stuff, but I didn't find it bad. I want to follow up. I want to carry on. You know what I mean? I want to carry on.
Go on, OT.
Oh, sorry, guys. I've got to go.
All right.
But Retro, I wanted to tell you, one of the things they need to do for GT is once you get the VR headset, when you're watching tournaments, they should give you a VR option as a spectator. So you can be at specific points of the track and watch this thing like you're actually paid for a ticket. It would change. Yeah, someone should give Sony the idea. VR spectator mode.
You need to email Kaz.
Take a video, take a screen recording of this and send it and tag all of PlayStation and Kaz in on it.
I think we should, man. That's a good idea.
Honestly.
And imagine for the premium editions, I'd love to have the tournaments where these guys actually win prizes. I'd love to be watching that with VR. Yeah. Anyway, take care, guys.
Take care, brother.
I'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah, you could hook up a fan. You could hook up a fan so the wind's blowing in your face, and pretend you're outside whilst eating popcorn, drinking a cold beer or some shit. I don't know. No, but on a serious note, that sounds amazing. It sounds like a really good idea. what was I going to say? Bender of Strings in the chat. He's been fired tonight with his comments, but he has pulled a funny one here. He put, Sony need a face for the brand, a conduit between the fans and the suits. Where is PlayStation's
called the Gran Turismo logo?
Where is PlayStation's Aaron Greenberg or Major Nelson? Bro, honestly, that is such a hilarious take. I'm sorry, bro, but if PlayStation had an Aaron Greenberg or a sulking Major Nelson, like, I don't think it would be anywhere near as effective. What they do need, I think, is seriously more kind of clear, preemptive, proactive, and just active in general PR in terms of Twitter, like relating things to the public in advance, nice and early, rather than it just being in a random tweet from someone else. Oh, by the way, this game is now being released on PlayStation now. It's kind of very random to me, and just there isn't a lot of clarity there. So if they were more clear in their marketing division and kind of just a little bit more just get it out there and let people know, announce it, I'd be happy. But to have like an Aaron Greenberg or a Major Nelson, I respect that their hustle, shout out to them guys and all that shit, but I find the American way a little cringe in terms of marketing. I don't think it does Xbox any favors, in all honesty.
It's very bombastic, isn't it?
It's very what?
Bombastic.
Yeah.
That's in your face, kind of.
Exactly, and to be honest, I'd say the level of mindshare and appreciation that Mark Cerny, Yoshida, Herman Hulst has, the three of them, they're like the holy trinity of PlayStation. I know Sean Layden was absolutely loved and adored, but he's gone now. But I mean, these guys are still massively respected and have so much esteem among different groups of the PlayStation community. For the techies, they love Mark Cerny. For the people who just love the games and love the direction Sony has gone with the quality of these games, they love Herman Hulst and the studios and stuff. And for all the amazing indies coming out, they love Yoshida. So I'd say, there are those with a lot of mindshare, but obviously they're just not as high. Just to let you all know that I do exist, and just reminding you all that PlayStation's the very, very best thing ever to exist. There's none of that kind of shit going on. And I think, when you let the games do the talking, that means that there's less talking from the guys telling you how amazing the games are and how amazing the company is. But that I think that's Xbox's problem. They don't let the games do enough of the talking. For multiple reasons. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that.
It's like a dude desperate to try and get a girlfriend. They're doing whatever they can do to get that girlfriend, and they can't. But then Sony walks in, and everybody's looking at Sony like, "Wow, look at that guy! Holy crap!" And then Xbox just gets pushed to the side. So
yeah, David Faulkner says, "Wooly, do you think anyone needs that PlayStation needs anyone to hype the product? Absolutely not." In my opinion. I mean, what do you think, David? I think an insane game hypes the product. When they show off an incredible game, that blows people's minds, and people are like, holy
basically shit. I said their breadth of IPs and characters is their mascot. It's their calling card. It's like, look what we create. It's not one thing, it's many. So to try and make them have like one figure or one person doing the talking, I don't think that works for Sony.
And what were you telling me about Kaz the other day? Like he has people, or was it Faulkner who said it? Like there are people like at full-on car firms saying you need to go speak to Kaz if you need information on any car model. He's done so much 3D rendering of cars that he knows them inside and out.
Dude, he gets the actual data that the manufacturers use themselves. Like they send him their files, literally give him all the information they have on cars, and like it's not just that. Like he went in with Nissan and designed the GTR's in-car software. So you know what I mean? There's like back and forth between Kaz and these manufacturers. There's a real level of respect there, and I love it. Like I think that's why Gran Turismo is so good, is because of those relationships that have been built up over the years.
Facts.
But yeah, I don't think. But like I say, I don't think Sony needs a single figure or a single person promoting their products, because the products are wide ranging, and I think the way that they advertise now, with that whole intro with all the different characters showing up, I think that hits perfectly, because it just screams we do more than one thing.
Yeah.
The proof has always been in the pudding with the games. I mean, Wooly sat there and said, Jim Ryan sat there and said, let's have the games do the talking. You don't have to really say anything when your games are speaking for you. So that's their thing. It's okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
Their biggest advertising is probably us, people that talk about their games and share the screenshots, and we're basically doing their talking for them.
I wish I could say that this podcast was one of the biggest forms of advertisement PlayStation has, but I doubt it. But no, I get you what you mean.
We as consumers, all of us as a collective, like Twitter, sharing Twitter stuff and interacting with the posts. I think I think we do the talking for them.
Yeah, big facts.
It only takes one too, Wooly. You go and you say how good Horizon is, and you just say that to Retro. Then all of a sudden, Retro's talking to two other people, so now you have three, and then that three becomes 9, and it only takes one person. So your show is doing perfectly fine putting that word out there.
Mm-hmm.
Believe.
I appreciate that, brother. Wilhelm, what's your thoughts, my guy?
I don't have VR experience myself, which is why I really
You're old school, right? You're like Buck Roger in the chat.
I do want to experience VR, but I didn't have a chance, so I can't like dive in too much on that aspect. All I can say is that I am hyped, like we've seen before, like with the things Sony wants to implement in their new headset with the inside out and eye tracking. It's it seems that they want to really bring that VR game to the next level, which is very exciting. And also, if just want to say, if all the people already mentioned to that topic what they wanted to mention, I wanted to come up with something that is kind of off topic, but only when that topic is already discussed.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, my dude. Facts. David's asking for Akira to respond to Jonathan Martinez's comment where he says, basically, Sony is international with everything else, but PlayStation is too American, and European, and not Asian. Is the difference that needs to improve? They're not Asian enough. What do you have to say to that, Akira?
I mean, if I could add on to something.
Sony's biggest game is Asian.
Gran
Turismo. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, that's such a silly statement. Like, Sony's biggest IP is from a Japanese studio.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Go on, Gaming Despair.
No, I mean, I think they kind of figured out a formula for themselves. Like, if you really think about it, it's not just games that they make, right? They make, movies, media, and stuff like that. So they can kind of see where a lot of this money is coming from, especially, I think, Americans. I'm not going to speak for all Americans, just everybody else in the world, they love movies and stuff like that. And I think America does a good job with that. So that's probably why they moved headquarters over there. And so they're invested into not just games, but other forms of media. And, they see where the blockbusters at, so they want to invest in that and try to get as much money as they can. I don't know if I said it correctly.
Facts. Just to bounce back onto briefly that topic about if Sony needs a Aaron Greenberg, etc. Or hell, even a Phil Spencer, like the everybody's hero kind of guy. Another reason why I disagree is because why I think less is more sometimes when you let the games do the talking. Sony's more step back approach is almost reminiscent of the days when you would pick up a magazine, a gaming magazine, just to try to find a screenshot, a picture of a game you cannot wait for, because so little is given about it. We didn't have YouTube, wasn't massive back then. I remember 2003, in 2003 I would buy every magazine every month released just to get a glimpse of Spider-Man 2 from Activision Treyarch. That was coming out in 2004. Like, I saw a screenshot of him swinging from a helicopter, and in the city street below, with lampposts. There were lampposts. Just that blew my mind. Like, holy shit, this is a real full city of New York City, and you could walk on the ground, and I could not take my eyes off these two screenshots that I would buy magazines just to get a glimpse of them, and my imagination was running wild, and I would ache for that game to come out. And the day that it came out was one of the most exciting days of my life. I shit you not. I cannot tell you how excited I was when Spider-Man 2 finally released in 2004. And my point is this: we don't get that feeling anymore with regards to most games. And it's not just because we're desensitized because of the games that we play. It's because of the amount of coverage these games get. The amount of coverage they get, the accessibility of that information about a game that we have. NXG hit the nail on the head when he was on this show a few weeks ago. And he said, now information is so prevalent and so easy to get hold of. It's not about, a screenshot doesn't hype up games anymore. It's what hypes up the game is information about how many hours does this game take to complete? How big is the game? How much scope is there to the game? Things like that. And he's absolutely right. Things have changed now. Why I like Sony's approach, less is more approach, in terms of how they kind of drip feed us information and then slam dunk a reveal right there and then, not long before the game's released, is because it gets so much excitement. It gets the excitement pumping, gets you like ready to like find out more about a game, and they keep it relatively close to the chest until bang, a gameplay reveal, an 18-minute long gameplay reveal, and it's like an event, right? And that's kind of what I miss about gaming to a degree. I miss the hype. Death Stranding had me so hyped. I was more hyped about the game when I knew fuck all about it than when they started showing gameplay of it, because the trailers got me wondering about, oh shit, what's going on here? What's the story? What are the invisible enemies that making this guy grow old instantly and dragging him up into the sky? Things like that, you get the point. Do you guys kind of know where I'm coming from? Do you kind of see what I mean by that? And do you kind of miss those days with the magazines and before everything was so easy to get hold of on the internet?
Yeah, man, dude, those were some of the good days, honestly. Oh shit, I gotta keep cutting people off. Go ahead.
Carry on, game.
Yeah, those were some of the good times, man. Dude, I used to go to the store all the time, and I used to look to see what next gaming magazine was come out, whether it was Informer, whatever was coming out. Dude, I had so much fun doing that, and I used to look at the screenshots, and it was a pretty cool time. I didn't have to worry about it, but
used to try and sneak looks in magazines without buying them because not get caught.
No, I would buy them. Well, I was too young,
I was a little kid,
Yeah, same here. And it was really cool too. And then like all the way at the back, they used to have like the little cheat codes you could do like on NES or like Sega games and stuff like that. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. And like I told you prior, man, I mean, it's just I think things kind of went down when social media kind of came about, and then I don't think journalists are like how they used to be anymore. But I get what you're coming from, man, because those, growing up, those were some of the golden ages where I didn't have to worry about like somebody else's stupid opinion. I just play whatever I wanted.
Yeah, massive fact.
My bad if I sidetracked off a little bit.
No, not at all, bro. I know. I love hearing you. Love hearing you speak and you spitting facts. I sidetracked. I got sidetracked. That was completely off the subject where I was going with that. But I just wanted to kind of reminisce about the good old days, Oh, what do you guys think? Go on, Doomsayers.
I was going to say, when you saying about the magazines, that was the I can't remember, it was somebody on Twitter and that, but you just brought back memories to me when gaming magazines, whether it was Game Informer, you got that in the mail, but then the PlayStation, the Xbox, everything. I used to go over to, I think it was Borders, and just, on a Friday night and get all the gaming magazines and the music magazines and all that. That's one thing I miss so much, is just going out and getting it, because like you said, it's so easy to get, just on your phone, your tablet, whatever. I just liked having that stack of magazines to sit there and page through and find that information that, like you were saying, Wooly, it's so easy to get information now just right off your phone. Before, you would sit there and wait for that day for that new magazine to come out or something to get that information on whatever game it was. I remember Modern Warfare 2. I bought every magazine I could to find out every piece of information on that game and the multiplayer and everything. So I miss those days. I really do.
Yeah, plus remember when we used to get those little demo discs like inside the magazine? They wouldn't come with every single magazine, but with little demos.
Guys, I'm getting emotional right now. I'm missing this shit.
I've still got my collection of official PS magazines and Xbox magazines at my dad's house,
You're shitting me, bro.
Nah, man. I've got like a whole collection of them from going from PS1 to PS. I think I stopped at early PS3.
Mate, you could sell. Well, that's when they started to go out of fashion. You could keep them forever, but I'm just saying you could sell them for a freaking fortune.
They're not going nowhere, man. Never.
If you guys are actually into the magazines, watch Mystic Ryan. He gives you, there's a website that you can actually get these old magazines in.
Really?
In mint. You can subscribe to it. I think it was like $10 or $11, and they will give you a magazine every month, and it's in mint condition, in a plastic baggie with the backing, everything. If I can find it, I'll send it out over Twitter and that stuff. But yeah, it's an incredible site that he goes to get that stuff.
Is it like a monthly subscription, or do they have like yearly as well, so you don't have to,
I'm not
$11?
I'm right there with you, gaming, about the yearly subscription. I'd rather do that. He just said it was monthly, but I'll get all the information and I'll send it to you guys.
Please do.
Sounds good, man. That'd be cool.
I would love that, dude. That would make me very happy. Because I can't buy magazines in the supermarket anymore. There are none. They don't sell gaming magazines where I live, so it sucks, man.
Hey, just looking at your chat real quick, some people ended up mentioning some magazines. There's Game Fan, Game Pro, Next Generation, EGM, Nintendo Power.
This man, Bender of Things, he's a man of culture, isn't he?
PSN.
He is.
Remember PSN?
PS. I remember PSU, PlayStation Network. I remember the official PlayStation magazine. PS.
Do you ever remember the magazine that came out? Do you ever remember there was one that came out? It was like a group of the official PlayStation writers ended up going out on their own. And see, for the first 3 or 4 issues, they had their own playable discs.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess PlayStation official must have stopped it or something, because after a while they stopped doing the discs.
It's crazy.
Like those were like magical times. Like what Doomsayer said before, I absolutely like felt that. Like one of the reasons why back then with the magazines why it was also cool because it felt more rewarding and it was so much more special because it was like the only way for you to obtain that kind of information. You went out and it was like a little bit of an adventure on its own going to that store and then trying to find out, well, is there going to be like a new game? Are there like rumors? Are there like screenshots of some new upcoming projects? Like right now with social media and all that, with people leaking stuff left and right, like that kind of information's like getting spoon fed to you, and just when you look at it, you like, yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah, facts. No, I agree, man. I agree. Shout out to the good old days, eh? Edge, Antoango. That's a good
I
one. Who
remember.
remembers Edge?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Edge
I
was a bit
remember,
more involved, wasn't it?
Sorry.
Go on, Akira.
No, what I was trying to say is I remember when I was playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and then I love that game so much, and then I finished it, and then after that I got a magazine with a piece about it basically, and it was the first time I saw that. I was confused why it looked like there was two castles. There was one castle, like, the normal castle, and then there was one castle on top of it. And, that confused me for a while until I figure out that there must be something I missed. It's kind of like the idea. And that was when I finally discovered it myself that there was a castle, like, on the opposite, basically, upside down castle, right? It was magical how you just discovered it through the magazine, and right nowadays it's a lot easier. Of course, you got guides and everything, and it's easier to find out. But guides is not the same as you discovering yourself, just like how it was done with the magazine.
Oh, I agree, man.
And
It's
and I think that was again magical times right there.
magical, bro. It did, and that's why I cherish games that give a similar kind of vibe. It's very rare that games like that exist now. That kind of take you back to that magical place that when you were a kid and you were eager to know more, but there was no way to know more as yet. But you couldn't wait to know more and see more. And games like Death Stranding did that for me. I think the way Hideo Kojima revealed the game in that trailer that we knew. In fact, interesting to note, he was using the engine that Sucker Punch have. He was using Sucker Punch's engine at the time with that trailer, which is pretty cool.
It's funny we're talking about Death Stranding because Death Stranding was pretty much the reason I created a Twitter account. I was trying to. No, alright, so I created a Twitter account because I wanted to follow Hideo Kojima because I was always searching on Google about Death Stranding news, right? Mm-hmm. And I was searching everything that I can about it because, Kojima was very cryptic and not really revealing shit. And, I was just rewatching the first trailer that he showed and when he did the infamous "I'm back" the speech, basically. And when I realized when I Google searched that all of the information or the news coming from Google search seems to be coming from his Twitter account, it's kind of like how I realized that, what, maybe I need to make my own so I can follow him and just get news from there. And that was kind of like the idea of my Twitter account, was just really to follow Hideo Kojima himself, just to get some Death Stranding news. So when and then I found I found people either hate or either are excited about it as well, and that's kind of like how this account grows. Just kept engaging with people, and the thing is, about good old days. Let's just say there are of course, there are advantages for games. Now that they have social media, they can grow faster. They can grow bigger. You discover more of these indie people that you will never hear of if you didn't have social media, which is also like a positive in my opinion. They
Facts.
get their chances to get discovered and chances that they didn't have before.
But imagine
And
they would have
yeah.
been discovered in the indies page of a magazine, and it probably would have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I hear you. I do hear you, man. Like, we'll never go back to those times, but damn, do I wish there was some way to just take me back.
Here it is funny though, because I literally joined Twitter for the same reason as you, only it was for
Alright.
Gran Turismo Sport info.
Oh shit.
Literally, that's the exact reason I joined Twitter, was to try and get more info on sport.
That's crazy,
Don't-
man.
Don't sit there and say that, Wooly, because I know here LPs, CDs, cassette tapes are kind of starting to make its way back here and there. There's actually shops in that are starting to pop up that have that old way of doing music. You never know if the people want it. Hey man, let's go get it. I'm for it, man. I'd love to.
Nah. Yeah, facts. It sounded like a tune that did. If you want to come and get it.
Come and get it.
I hate that song. But yeah, no, you're absolute facts, man. I hope so. Like, dude, oh man, retro. That it is the way. I am retro. I'm not retro. Retro's retro, but you know what I mean. I'm not you retro. I'm just a retro guy in the sense that I'm not quite Buck Roger level, but damn, I do respect and appreciate.
He really is, man.
Yeah, I do respect and appreciate 100% where he stands on
Yeah,
where
100%.
gaming is today compared to where it used to be, and I certainly feel like I agree with his sentiments and kind of understand where he's coming from. So let's get back to go on, bro.
Just fuse together and shit like in Dragon Ball Z, and you'll become Wooly retro. You know what I'm saying?
Wooletro. Retchwool.
I was gonna say this actually before you get onto your next topic. It's just a little sidetrack, but it was Akira mentioning Kojima. And I wish you were there a lot earlier, bro. When I had the podcast with Jeff Ross, and he was telling us a funny ass story. I'm just gonna throw this out there, because Sick Humor was talking to him. He was telling him how Jeff Ross sounds very genuine when he talks, right? And so Jeff Ross ended up telling us that he has no filter. So sometimes they were afraid of putting him on camera because just how he speaks his mind open, right? So it was during the times when Kojima was visiting the PlayStation studios, right? So he eventually ended up coming to Bend, and then afterwards he ended up having dinner. And out of all people, Jeff Ross decides to tell Kojima, he talks to his translator and asks him, like, what happened with Konami? So he told us that there was an eerie silence throughout the whole, dinner table. And so Jeff Ross ended up raising his glass and he's like, all right, well, here's to fuck Konami. And everybody started busting out laughing, including Kojima, man. That shit was funny as hell when he told us. But yeah, my bad, dude. Go ahead. I just want to tell y'all the story.
That was classic. I love that. Oh, mate, what a stand-up guy. Yeah, I do like Jeff. He's unapologetically himself, and I love people like that, man. It's the same with David Jaffe. Like, I know he's like the other side of the spectrum. Jeff Ross is a very reserved man, and David Jaffe's the opposite, but they're both very real people, and that's why I have a lot of time and respect for them, and kind of really appreciate them in this community.
Yeah, I don't mind David Jaffe, man. He's pretty cool, bro.
I know you and Jeff are good friends. Remnant, you spend a lot of time talking, and he was on your show the other day, which was really awesome.
He's pretty cool to talk to, man. I mean, dude, he'll answer anything, but just as long as it's not out of like the boundaries, you know what I mean? Because obviously there's certain things that he can't talk about.
Yeah, I apologize about the terrible frame rate right now, guys. It's just a problem with the bit rate. I have no idea why. I'll try and get it fixed for next time. I had it
But
fixed for a while. But
about David Jeff, right? You saw his You saw a tweet he made
yeah, I saw
last
his-
time, right?
he posted a in quotes controversial tweet that he in no way, shape, or form intended to kind of be controversial in a sense. Like he was talking about how he can't be cruel to NPCs in games anymore as he's gotten older and senile. I'm only joking, Jaffe. Love you, brother. But on a serious note, he was saying how he can't be cruel to game NPCs anymore, right? And so what used to be just video games has changed because he's kind of the blurry lines between NPCs and relatable characters that you can relate to, like in a movie and films, is becoming so close now that now it's hard to kind of, for him to even in Cyberpunk 2077 shoot up a place and shoot people. And so he put out a tweet saying, you know, if you saw a club predominantly consisting of minorities, Jews, Muslims, and all that, and the mission was to shoot everybody, would you? And he put out that question, and people were like, lost their shit about it. And he posted a video afterwards.
I mean,
he looked pretty upset, but he said, you know, the reason why I was asking the question was because I couldn't, and it's because now I feel differently about NPCs than I used to. And
I think the controversial part of, you know, the question was, it was very specific type of people, basically.
yeah, I don't know why he mentioned
I think those-
minorities. I got to admit, like,
Yeah,
Right, it
basically
made no
every group
difference.
of people he mentioned in that tweet were minorities, which is
yeah, like why he
weird.
specified minorities, I don't know. That kind of baffled me. But at the same time, I didn't just lose my shit and assume the worst about the guy and take everything that he tweeted out in bad faith, because I know that's the fashion nowadays on Twitter, that anything somebody says on Twitter, it's bad faith that you take it first. It's assume the worst and be corrected if it's not. And that's kind of
and
the way people think nowadays.
sorry, Willie.
Go on, Game Dispatch.
And that's the problem, man. Like, because anytime you try to post something on the internet, man, people are always going to take what you say out of context. Like, maybe he really didn't mean it in bad faith, so I can't really say anything about it, to be honest with you.
He didn't mean it as people assumed he meant it, and same shit happened with OT just the other day. You know, he got absolutely hounded by people for shit, accusing him of saying or suggesting shit that he never said, because, like I said, that's the fashion nowadays. Assume the worst about someone and just stand corrected silently if it turns out that you got the wrong end of the stick and you misjudged the person. And that's unfortunately the way the world is nowadays. That's why, you know, I know Jaffe well enough and long enough to know that no, he was not inciting violence or hatred towards minorities. I mean, for goodness sake, he's about as woke as they come.
He could have worded the question better. The question was perfectly reasonable,
and
but
so
it was the way he framed it was, for me, it was completely off. Do you know what I mean?
100%. I agree. So, is it an unforgivable crime to word something the wrong way? No.
And I'm not.
But people
kill him for it.
I know, absolutely. I know that's not what you're saying, but I mean, you're a grown-ass man with a grown-ass attitude. But people who say, even if you didn't mean it that way, Jaffe, words hurt, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, you're reacting over somebody saying it the wrong way, but despite you still knowing what their intentions are. And because they said it not exactly how you think is most appropriate, that's so wrong that you would crucify them over it. To me, it's just ridiculous.
I agree.
That's the attitude of people. Like, we learned this in basic fundamental kindergarten school to relate to people with nuance and not take everything they say so literally that you judge them by what they say, not how they say it. You know
That's
what I
like
mean?
the thing with like that's the thing with people nowadays. You know, they judge half-finished pictures so they can distort and finish the picture in a way that fits their ideology and their vision, so they can feel like artists.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, honestly, yeah. Just confirmation bias is all people want nowadays. Like all people look for, and it's yeah. I mean, accuse the guy of clickbait all you want. I mean, respect the hustle. Who doesn't clickbait? You know, it is what it is. What it is. But for goodness sake, man, clickbaiting isn't. Since when is clickbaiting made a person scum, or worth hating on, or worth mocking, or worth shooting down? It is literally an algorithm technique used to push your channel forward. And if you run a YouTube channel, I expect you would do the exact same thing. So let's just be real here, you know, and not kind of put ourselves on a freaking high horse and pseudo-moralistically judge everyone as below us to with a standard that we ourselves don't follow. It's ridiculous. And that's what all people tend to do on Twitter, because that's the internet. Moving on.
Oh wait. I wanted to mention like that quick thing.
Sorry, brother. Yeah, go for it.
What I wanted to say is I wanted to mention that before, but somehow couldn't again. Even though I wasn't able to play that many games this month, I started to dive in deep into like a sort of obscure like hole. I don't know if you're familiar with the term Jank. Are you familiar with Jank or Jank? Jank and Jank games, you know, like
Europe.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
for example,
Eurojank games like Elix. I love Elix.
Absolutely, yeah, dude. I've been diving into that kind of. Well, I started to grasp interest in that kind of subgenre, if you called it, like that kind of breed of games, because of the YouTuber Civi11. Like, if you haven't known who Civi11 is, go check out his channel. He's the dude who got me into Postal.
Sorry. So there was something weird happening with the audio then. Could you repeat that, dude? If I check out whose YouTube channel?
Civi11,
dude. We've hit 0 kilobytes. Hold on. Wait, now we're back up. What's he called?
Civi11. He does like he's the guy who got me into Postal and the Boomership. No, Civi. Like CIVV and IE.
Oh, Civi, like civilian.
Yeah. For example, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, Civi11, like he's the guy who got me into Boomer Shooters and Postal 2. I love his videos. If you haven't checked him out, go check him out. He makes like really entertaining videos, and he introduced me like with his videos to like that subgenre of sloth jank games, and sloth jank games can be, when executed well. Like if you don't know what sloth jank games are, those are basically games like made in Europe or Russia, like the name implies, and they're usually FPS games, like games like URMT, and a popular example of that is the Stalker series of that breed of game. And
Stalker.
Yeah, Stalker, and they're known for having like their kind of like technical and gameplay quirks. But a Stuff Jank and Eurojank game done well can be surprisingly effective, because like due to the fact like we have like different kind of people working on it, there's like an odd charm coming to it as well, you know. With like the way it's presented, with like the kind of vibe they're going for it, with the story. And when that game is done well, or all the quirks those games have technically or gameplay wise can actually play to that game's strength. Like another example where I think it plays to its strength is a game called Red Ocean. I think you have never heard of that game, Red Ocean. It's an FPS game made by German developers, and nobody has ever heard of that game. Even its Wikipedia page is very thin, and you can't even the developers don't have like uh, it's hard to find out anything about them because they've only made that game. But I think it's very entertaining. Like I think it's very entertaining. It has like its odd charm. Yeah, it's kind of unrefined technically, but like charmingly so. And shooting enemies is fun, especially due to the ragdolls they're using. Um, I think Red Ocean is like also a positive example of like your jank game.
I love
And
it. You need to try Elix at some point. It's
yeah, I know.
for real one of my favorite.
I think it's also made by the same people who made fuck, what was it called? What was that like one
Technomancer.
German? No, that one I wasn't talking about. Oh dude, oh god, it's Gothic. Gothic. Is this by the
Yeah,
same people
it
who made
is.
Gothic?
And in fact,
Yeah.
people call it a spiritual successor to Gothic because its mission structure is very similar. It has a lot of depth. More surprisingly, it has in many ways as much depth as, say, The Witcher, in terms of the consequences of your actions and the way the world kind of reacts to your actions and stuff. Obviously, it's a lot more janky and not quite the production value of The Witcher.
But it's like a part of the charm,
Yeah,
or
it
else it
is.
wouldn't be called Eurojank.
Exactly. Yeah, they're a
Like,
fantastic game. I really recommend it strongly, especially and aim for a shooter build because using your jetpack in combination with a laser rifle is so satisfying, and it's more satisfying than the melee because that is janky.
Dude, the thing that I love about Gothic is that even though it's like playing in like those old like medieval times, they like use the kind of language that people would use like nowadays. Like they go out and call somebody else like ah it's hard to like kind of like demonstrate that in English because it's like a German thing, Like they go around call them piss up and schwuchtel or something. It's hilarious that way, but it's like absolutely like in the absolute best way. That's why like those kind of games are like effective as hell in that factor. They're like the room in a way, like Tommy Wiseau's The Room, but like at the same time legitimately good. Not only so good it's bad, but like the part that is bad is legitimately good as well. And that kind of game is like so like really special to me in that case. But unfortunately, there are also negative examples of that kind of game, like a game called Alpha Prime. I've recently beaten. It's not a good soft jank game. It's like trying to put fierce gameplay in Doom 3's level design, and it just doesn't work. Fierce gameplay wasn't designed with Doom 3's levels in mind. Like Fear has like wide, big and open arenas, and you can't like put that kind of gameplay in like those very narrow, linear corners and hallways and all that. And it also puts too much emphasis on its narrative, which is kind of shit. The narrative is really not all that good. So stay away from Alpha Prime, but I do recommend Red Ocean. It's abandonware, so go on the site called My Abandonware Games, because that's like a site where you can get all of those games that are pretty much abandonware and download them for free. I mean, it's not pirating. The game itself isn't distributed anywhere, so you're on a good moral spot there.
That's awesome, my bro. No, yeah, so Red Ocean, guys, check it out. And also Elix, check it out. But yeah, shout out to Eurojank, man. Gotta love it. I think it's because the jank in itself becomes like a game mechanic that you have to work around and work with.
Absolutely.
A bit like how Death Stranding's terrain is an obstacle. Like Elix, the jank is an obstacle. It makes combat more difficult. It makes it something that you have to master, And I miss that. It's a more analog experience, I guess you could say.
Wait,
Kingdom
sorry,
Come
but
Deliverance is an example of that as well.
I just get reminded of that scene in Gothic where you like walk up to that dude and you like ask him what are you doing, and he's like, "Oh, I'm testing the new substances with the boy."
I've never played Gothic, but I'm looking forward to the
Yeah,
the remake, which is being released soon, relatively, I think. But yeah, no, let's go on, Doomsayer.
I have to actually get going.
All right, brother. Yeah, no sweat. We've really gone on because I've been meaning to touch on these other subjects, but every time we end up talking about stuff. But that's awesome, man. That's the great thing about a podcast when it flows and you get talking about things that are completely like not expected. But that's usually where the best conversations happen. So sorry we didn't get to touch on everything, brother, but I really appreciate you being on. It means a lot. And check out Doomsayer's channel, everybody. Where can we find you, man?
You can find me on the Twitters, Doomsayer Net W1. I have a YouTube channel, like Wooly was saying. You can we have Friday night, which is the Doomslayer's Den, Mr. Bushido, Mr. Inferno, Triple Combo Gaming, and now we introduced the Wise Old Gamer, including Retro. He gets pissed off when I mention him being last, but he's my buddy. But we have that, and then we also have Sunday at 11 o'clock, the Order of Disorder, which is basically just a fun fest of stupid crap going on. But Wooly, I really appreciate you inviting me. It's don't be, I got to thank you for this. I really appreciate it, and I'd love to come back on. Like I said, the offer is up there for you and your wife for a Sunday show. You just let me know.
We'll make it happen. I'll sweet talk her.
I appreciate that, man.
And, would love you on again on this show too, brother. Yeah, you always spit facts, and it's awesome to have you on. So thank you. Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate it. Let me know. And hey, it was great chatting with everybody. Appreciate it. And I'm gonna try to get everybody that's on your panel onto my show. I might have to steal them. So
let's go. Everybody, give Doomsay his follow. You can follow, see the link below on his description. On the description of this video, you can see the link to his Twitter. But yeah, stay awesome, my brother, and thank you.
Doomsayer, real quick. I just wanted to say, if you need somebody as like a guest, charismatic guest, I'm your guy. So as long as Salty doesn't want to hire me, I have to advertise myself.
So he's lost his chance. He's blown his chances.
Well, his chance away now. Salty's no longer my best friend. Now Doomsayer is my best friend. Or how that?
Oh man.
Wilhelm, you are booked for the next Damage Plan show. You're definitely booked, and if anybody else wants to come on, let me know. My producer is Retro, so he'll be taking your phone calls and all that stuff.
Doomsay's doing a what's her name? A Froscurian right now. Everybody talk to my agent if you want to contact me.
Wait, hold on. Is it like live phone calls?
Retro, can you answer that? You're the producer.
No.
Oh, it's not.
Talk to my agent.
Yo, hit me up on a DM and that. Like I said, I'll give you the link, get you all set up. I give you show notes and whatever else. Just a couple days.
Sometimes.
No, I give them all the time. Get out of here. I only missed you once.
Right, get out of there. You honestly. Stay awesome, my bro. Thank you.
Hey,
take care. I'll talk to you later.
Have a good one, everybody.
Ciao. Let's quickly, guys. Let's just get this out the way, so I'm not accused of clickbait. I know I was justifying clickbait. I didn't mean like shitty reviews to get clicks. I meant titles. I meant the use of titles and words and how you word things more than anything.
Sorry.
I wasn't talking about actual like giving Horizon Forbidden West a 6 out of 10 in order to freaking, I don't know, get views or clicks or anything. You wanted to say something, Akira, before we move on?
No, keep going.
Cool. Right, let's go. So finally, guys, speaking of Elix, I'm playing a bit of Elix gameplay right now for you guys because it is the way to go. Helix is amazing. Eurojank, gotta love it. So you'll be able to behold the greatness that is Helix, Wilhelm.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about Activision Blizzard real quick. It's kind of a crazy thing to see happen.
Hey, Wooly, did you guys cover censorship yet or not?
Not yet.
Okay, that's last.
Yeah.
All right, because I need to get going. I'm hungry as hell.
Oh shit! Do you want to talk about censorship now then?
If I can say that real quick, yeah.
Get your thoughts out, bro.
Obviously this whole, well, I mean, it's been going on before, the whole, was it DMC? I forgot which one it was. DMC 5? When they had that little censorship on there too, right?
Yeah,
and then
it's
now it
DMC5.
was,
When they censored the hot girl's ass.
yeah. And then now
Yeah,
it's Martha is Dead, right? So I got a chance to play the game. No, not Martha is Dead. I got a chance to play, if you pre-ordered the game, you got another game which was called the Town of Light. So I didn't start Martha right away, and then I went to Town of Light. So I can kind of understand, man, because there's some, I'm not going to spoil anything on here. I can understand why they're doing it, because some of the shit that I've seen on there, it can be very uncomfortable for someone, right? Like the last part in that game, man, dude, that shit was so cringe. I actually looked away from my screen like the first time. Kind of like that feeling you got from Dead Space 2 when you're trying to put that needle in Isaac's eye. That was kind of the similar thing. So in some sense, I can understand why they did it, but it's not censorship to the point where they completely took it out of the game. All it was is that you can't do that, I guess, innovation with your controller where you can cut and shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure we've all seen the video of the girl's face being cut off, but
it's pretty grim.
Yeah, it'll still be on there, but it's just that you won't have, you won't be playing around with that bullshit. But that's pretty much primarily what I wanted to say about that. And who the fuck? Hey, Buck Rogers, shut your bitch ass up. Anyways, I highly recommend you guys to check it out. Maybe see if you guys could get a different opinion than I did, because obviously, I'm not gonna sit here and say that censorship is a good thing, because obviously it kind of sucks for some, for people, especially if they want to see full blown anime titties or like some crazy shit like that. But hey man, to each their own. But like I'm saying, it's not that game. Those games are not meant for everybody, and it could be disturbing for some people. That's all I'm gonna say about that. All right, guys, man. I want to talk to you later, man. Wooly, my guy, man. Nice for having me on, bro. I just got to work, so I got here as soon as I could.
Yeah,
I'm just starving, my
appreciate
dude.
you being here, brother. It's been awesome. Take care. All the best, man. We'll wrap this up kind of quick, guys. So we're not kind of going into the 3 hour mark. We'll try and wrap this up within the next half an hour, if we can. But regarding censorship, that's a great point that you mentioned. Martha is Dead has still been censored, not by removing the scene, but by making the scene unplayable or uninteractive. It's not a quick time event anymore. It's literally just a cutscene that you can optionally skip. I think it's with the triangle button. Yeah, guys, share your thoughts. Retro, Akira, Wilhelm, do you agree with that decision from Sony? What are your thoughts on censorship? Do you think it completely no holds barred in terms of the publisher Sony having no say at all in anything regarding the content that developers make, as long as they accept, they either take the payment in full and allow the game as it is to be published, or they refuse the game and don't pay the devs at all. Is it that black and white, or do you think Sony, by compromising with them, saying, listen, we don't want this to be interactive, this is past the bar for us, which I think is a bit hypocritical of them, because I mean they have Mortal Kombat, on the PlayStation, and that's interactive. Except the moves that you do, I guess, aren't interactive. Like it plays out like a cutscene after you pull off the special move. So I guess that is an argument that you could make. You're not moving the hand through the body to rip out the heart. You know what I mean?
But then I still took off a dude's head with a baseball bat in The Last of Us 2 and had his brain splatter
What was
on the
that?
wall. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that was
Yeah,
interactive.
well, I
Yeah,
mean, I swung the bat.
yeah, you
It
did.
caused the explosion of brain matter. So, yes, I find it very hypocritical of him. I don't believe. I mean, obviously, there's taboo subjects that I don't think should be shown. Anything to do with kids,
Yeah,
like that's my personal limit. But then, would I be right in censoring that kind of stuff if somebody was to make a game about that? I mean, like that's where the hypocritical bit comes in. It's like, yeah, I agree that stuff shouldn't be censored, but then the stuff that obviously needs to be censored or not allowed. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's a complicated subject. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
see, I see exactly where you're coming from, and I think with something like in context with Martha is Dead, I think it's anything with like the R word or kids, like you said, 100%. I don't
Yeah,
even think that. I don't think it should be censored. I think it should be just never allowed the game
yeah,
anyway to be published, let alone made, or made, let alone published rather. I think the devs should be arrested in all honesty, but
yeah,
but but
100%.
but I guess more with with kids. I think with the R word, there's context like in Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. You know,
Yeah,
there was an attempt made on Tomb Raider on Lara Croft, and there are areas where I guess to give context to the story or character building, there is a that thing happens to a character and maybe she gets revenge, stuff like that can happen in games, and fair enough if that's the dev's vision. I think that's fair enough to a degree, but I think the graphic portrayal of it isn't needed at all.
no,
No, the Deliverance, the film Deliverance or anything like that,
yeah,
where that shit is shown. I think that's just way too down the line, past the mark, the line for me.
yeah,
But when it comes to violence, damn, I mean, and graphic portrayals of it, I mean, why is Martha is Dead? Why is Martha is Dead not made non-interactive? And yet, like you said, you can smash a guy's brains over a wall in The Last of Us 2. It's a tricky one. I
yeah.
don't quite understand their reasoning on it, but I'd love to hear their reasoning on it.
Well, I don't support any type of censorship. I mean, yeah, like you've touched upon before, like, for some, there have to be some boundaries, like I'm sorry, but do I also have to like limit myself to R word? Is it like forbidden to like uh say what the act is or bully?
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, feel free to say it if you want. I just say the R word just to, I don't know, because I
I
just don't like
mean,
saying the word.
the act of the R obviously is like also something that I don't think has to be portrayed like, but those are like kind of like radical things, you know, like those are like places where you like understand like why you don't show it or get to see it portrayed graphically. But in the case of Martha is Dead, I don't get it at all because the problem with censorship is that what happens is that not only you butcher and distort the artist's vision, what also happens is that like that people don't want to get bold. People don't want to try more things, don't want to get experimental because they fear of being censored or they fear not getting supported. They fear not that their vision doesn't get acknowledged, picked up, and distributed, supported by anybody. What then really happens is with censorship is a narrowing of the artist's creativity, and that is something that I just simply cannot stand behind at all. So
I think
I
you're singing.
think
You're singing Buck's tune there. I think he agrees. You've got the Buck stamp of approval. And Akira, what do you feel about it, dude? Oh, he's not there. Maybe he's fallen asleep.
Oh, sorry, I got my headphone muted. But so what I'm trying to say is that I don't like censorship of any kind of form. I really don't. It's a hot take because let's say there are boundaries basically, but that's the thing about me. So I believe that art is limitless, right? This was a really interesting debate. Well, I posed the question and I got tons of different answers. And I also basically debate with myself about it, where I say, okay, so art is limitless, but is it really limitless if there are boundaries for it?
But then
And
you gotta say is say that game where you're that neighborhood guy and you're just shooting up a load of people and it got banned in
hatred.
Hatred.
Yeah, hatred. Yeah.
Is hatred art?
Yeah.
Is that a dev's vision, or is it propaganda? I guess
No.
you could go into that. I'm not saying it's propaganda. I'm not saying it's not art. I'm asking the question.
The problem with art is that I think this is how they say it in English, is it's in the eye of the beholder, from what I understood.
Yeah.
So, for example, those fucking paintings that cost a lot of money, and people say they see shit in it that I, as a normal person, cannot see, but apparently it's art to them. So it has to be the eye of the beholder. It's kind of like how I see it as well with everything else, with movies or video games or TV shows, where something can be art for someone, and if it's in the vision of it being art, and that's why they do it, is that's why the question is so complicated, because art can be anything. That's why when you adapt the mindset that art is limitless, that means it can apply to anything that is, let's say, within the realm of I would call it entertainment, because arts mostly are basically entertainment, to video games, to painting, to drawing, to all of this shit. All of the things that people call art is basically for entertainment or hobbies. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, art is limitless, and I'm against censorship because hard to say this, but no matter how fucked up it gets sometimes, I don't know, it's so hard for me to put a limit on something that I believe is limitless, because it defeats the purpose of the meaning. Mm-hmm. The word limitless, when you put boundaries in something.
Yeah.
And this is why like when I posted the question, of course the most extreme examples will start to pop up, like rape, for example, or children getting murdered, or getting basically bad things happening to children in media. Stuff like that are kind of like the extreme examples, which unfortunately those things do exist. Like, for example, I mentioned that Yakuza Kensan, the Japanese exclusive Yakuza Samurai games, is like based on Japanese history. And if you base something on Japanese history without holding anything back, then you got topics that the West might not take too kindly to, but in Japan would be well accepted, because it's kind of like, we either consume it as media or we'll consume it as a history lesson, but we'll not consume it as something so offending or something that is sensitive. For example, in Yakuza Ken's Son, there is child prostitution portrayed painfully accurate to how it was done in history. Only thing that maybe they hold back on is visually. They kind of did something creative with the visuals that it doesn't look that explicit, but when it comes to details and explanation and dialogue, it is very, very intricate detail on how child prostitution was done back then in Japanese samurai history when the wars were still at an all-time high. Let's just say it like that, right? Do you think a game like that would be accepted in the West?
No.
People beg for this game in the West, but I'm really thinking what kind of repercussions it can get when you get like a child prostitution, or
But I mean,
some
so
or
Akira,
or a child threatening to kill herself if you do something that she doesn't want you to do, or basically a lot of to do with children, because in the history of Japan, unfortunately, a lot of bad shit happened to children.
yeah.
That's why they're part of that. If you're trying to portray some part of Japanese samurai history, those and if you don't want to hold back, it's kind of like the topics that will pop up. It's not the whole focus, but it's gonna be a significant part of the storytelling. And I once I for one believe if ever Kensan or Ishin gets localized, I really believe they're gonna make some changes there. Either they're gonna make some changes on the context of that part of topic, or they're just gonna replace it completely with something else. It's kind of like just how I see it because of how
there was a
sensitive it can get in the
There was
West.
a Netflix film released not too long ago, a dance movie. I never saw it, but it was all over
cuties
Twitter.
is what they call it.
Oh,
yeah.
is that it? It was all over
that's how-
Twitter, and it like it was, the shit was shocking. I saw the trailer. I watched this YouTuber show the trailer as she broke it down, and she was mortified by
Still
it.
not sleepy. You want? Sorry. Wait. Sorry. What's this?
And I, to me, there should be a line that was literally glorifying kids. That was trying to make kids appear sexy. That's what it was trying to do, the film. And it was doing close-up angles of butts and all that shit. This YouTuber watched the film and broke it all down. I can't remember her name. This lady. She's very vocal about stuff, and I'm thinking, well, is that art, or is that somebody indulging? What do you guys think?
Well, it always depends on how you portray certain topics, Like for example, when Akira mentioned that thing in that Yakuza spin-off, the child prostitution. I think the way, for one, you can absolutely bring that stuff up and portray that because it's basically a part of history, unfortunately, and you have to talk about that stuff because, like I've said, it's a part of history. But you shouldn't portray it in a way that where it comes across like you're romanticizing it or you're
And that's exactly what Cuties was doing, right? It was romanticizing
for example, absolutely. Like the way the Yakuza spin-off did it was it seems to me at least right. Like they didn't romanticize it in any way, and they didn't try to portray it in a hurtful or tasteless manner. They were just bringing attention to and portraying an cruel and dark part in history, but in a way that's tasteful, in a way where
it's nuanced, isn't it? Because what's tasteful? It's how do you define it? And so I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Wilhelm. There's nuance to this.
Yeah, like I said, like the way they did in Yakuza was tasteful and it wasn't like it didn't came across it didn't came across
Indulgent.
like cutie and indulgent. Yeah. While with cuties, on the other hand, like you've said before, they very much romanticized and almost fetishized it in a way, where you really don't feel comfortable watching it. Like you're asking yourself, what for whom is it made? Is it made for those, kind of like, for girls to, look up to that kind of stuff, to kind of, I don't know, make them aware you can achieve your dreams, or was that made for Woody Allen?
Mm-hmm. Well, put it this way, Wilhelm. One of the journalists defending the game is a head of a charity registered on Amazon that's trying to legalize pedophilia as a I can't remember the name that they call them, but as a sexuality. And these guys are on Twitter defending cuties, saying calling it art, and these are basically they hold. They have a ring, basically. They have a pedo ring, and they love that shit. So
this is the interesting part about this is the interesting part about censorship, right? Like the keyword romanticizing, because not all censorships is being done to stuff that, even stuff that is not even romanticized gets censored. For example, and since Wilhelm lives in Germany, there is always something that is always censored in Germany, no matter what it is. Either it's a video game, it's a movie, or a TV show. Anything that has to do with national communism or Hitler himself needs to be censored in Germany. The symbol. His name is censored. For example, I'm gonna give you an example. Shin Megami Tensei 2, a Japanese JRPG, basically, right? Had Hitler as its final boss, basically. He was the same. It was the same batshit, insane dictator, only with the fantasy in it, basically included, with world domination, right? So in the original, you see Hitler. He is named Hitler in the game, and you see the Hakenkreuz. I don't know what it's called in German, but it's basically that Hitler
English, but Hakenkreuz. It's
Hitler symbol, basically, right?
Hakenkreuz. It's called Hakenkreuz.
And in the censored version, the symbol gets replaced with something that looks like an eagle. I never understood it, but it kind of looks like an eagle, but the color scheme is the same. It was still the red and black color scheme. Only this time, instead of the cross of Hitler, it's that eagle thing that they replace, and they do this with a lot of their games. For example, Assassin's Creed Unity did this. I played both versions, Assassin's Creed Unity, both from the German version and the version from the US. Basically, there is a part there where you climb the Eiffel Tower during World War II, and you will see this gigantic symbol of Hitler on the Eiffel Tower itself. While in the censored version, they also replace that symbol once again. And by the way, I forgot to say, in the Hitler boss fight, in the censored version, they changed his name to the Führer. They cannot call him Hitler for some reason. You can only call him the Führer in the game as a censorship. Now, these games does not romanticize Hitler or his idea at all. They're actually portraying him as the asshole that he was, basically.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
But they still censor it because that's the thing with Germany. When it comes to Hitler, is this sensitivity that they really cannot bypass. Even the book of Hitler is still, I think, only recently allowed in schools. Before the Mein Kampf, that was like forbidden in Germany for so many years. I think they just let it now in universities for study, for historical study purposes. But before that was completely forbidden. That book of Hitler there, the Mein Kampf. and that's the thing, man. These are not romanticizing, but when you put him in the game, for example, it was a Japanese developer put him in the game, and it's kind of like the funny thing in Japan. There is a lot of things in Japan that has Hitler in it. A Dragon Ball Z movie had Hitler in it, and
Oh yeah, I remember.
they portray him in such a funny way, and there was backlash about it in Japan. Didn't really care. Nobody cares, right? Because it was used. He was still the same war freak dictator in that movie. The only difference is the sons of Goku and Vegeta teaches him a lesson. It was funny. They did it in a funny way, right? Almost like tarnishing whoever he is, which is supposed to be, because I don't think he should be worshipped. And it's kind of like the thing that's really interesting, because the way you said romanticizing doesn't apply to all kinds of censorship, because like I said, that one was censored. It was not being romanticized, it was being portrayed as it is.
I mean,
as what historically accurate, basically.
I'm sorry to cut you up, but I mean, you're absolutely right on everything, but it comes across to me like you're accusing me of something.
Oh no, I'm not accusing you of anything. No. I was only bringing up an example that let's say you can relate to, because I see both ways, right? I've been there and I've been in other countries. That's why I can I can see it in both ways. And in this country, Hitler is kind of not taken that seriously. He's almost like a joke to people. He's people that people hate. That's why they like to ridicule him. That kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And while in Germany, he's kind of in Germany, he's kind of like the Voldemort, where you're not even allowed to say his name properly. Like people would give you looks if you even say his name properly, like without hesitation, something like that, because he's such this he's this feared
would you say that's,
entity.
That's correct?
Absolutely, it's very accurate. Like for the longest of times, German censorship was always very, very sensitive, especially when it comes to the times of like World War II with the Nazis and
But
Hitler
it's
and all that.
but it's funny because everything else, Germany is actually very lenient to everything else that's normally gets censored in other countries.
So
it is actually really interesting to see that. For example, other countries where they censor, nudity and all this shit, and in
China,
in America, or everywhere else. In Germany, they're not afraid to do it. They're not afraid to show that shit is not censored, and even teenagers can watch that shit because it's on TV. So it's there are things that censorship always seems to be in partner with sensitivity, like somebody's sensitivity towards something.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like where censorship stands.
I wanna ask you guys, so we can wrap this up.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. I'm just cautious about the time, conscious about people's time. I don't want to keep retro on here for hours and hours, because appreciate it's getting late as well. But I wanted to just ask you guys. We've had a really good discussion on censorship here tonight, and there's been a lot of insight and a lot of information that I think is what you and Wilhelm have spoken about. Akira has kind of brought a good perspective to mind, but at the same time, do you think where Sony have kind of landed with this is kind of a relatively good compromise in terms of I don't get it. I don't understand why just not keep it interactive. I don't understand what that's achieved, because you're still seeing the shit. Giving you the choice to just skip that interactive segment would probably have been better for the devs, because the devs wanted you to feel that sheer horror of participating in something you don't want to do. And I think that's obviously been lost in the PlayStation version, because they've made it non-interactive. And if you don't want to feel that horror, giving you the option to skip it entirely is probably, if Sony were to do something, that's what they should have done if they were going to censor it. But can we all agree, or do you agree that if there are certain things that it's not just black and white, right? Nothing should be censored whatsoever. There are clearly things that should be censored, but as regards the decision Sony makes in what they choose to censor, it seems very inconsistent. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Retro, what's your thoughts on
It
that?
is inconsistent how they censor stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Very inconsistent.
Yeah.
Very, very inconsistent. It needs, like you say, I wish it could just be as simple as just telling them, look, if you feel that strongly about it, then just make it skippable, but don't censor it. Just make it skippable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And in that way, they're doing their job they feel that they're doing, and people have the option, and then nobody's going to moan about it, are they?
Or hell, offer a obviously not child-friendly mode, because that game is not for children, but I mean just like a sensitivity mode. If you're particularly sensitive to horrifying experiences that you don't want to experience, play this version. However, please note that aspects of the dev's visions of the dev's vision will be omitted from this experience, and it's not the one we recommend. You know, like if they had given you an option like that at the start of the game, that fair enough. Where they cut that, where they make that bit skippable. But freaking hell, like Sony need to get their act together with regards to what they haphazardly kind of randomly cherry pick to censor and what they don't.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair criticism.
Yeah, definitely is.
Facts. Anyway, last but by no means least, the last topic that we'll just blitz through now: Activision Blizzard finessed by Xbox. They've been finessed, everybody. The facts are that Activision Blizzard are now being sued by a couple of shareholders. How dastardly of them. But for real, these guys are being sued by shareholders that they the article reads, the lawsuit was filed in California by shareholder Kyle Watson, alleging Securities Exchange Act violations in its proposed sales plan. And it says here that the shareholder lawsuit claims they are merely enriching themselves by selling the company to Microsoft. Microsoft said in January that it will buy Activision Blizzard for $95 per share. It's a lot of money, $68.7 billion. Watson calls the sales unfair for a number of reasons, but notes that the board is simply seeking to procure for themselves and senior management significant and immediate money or benefits for them to then get lost with, right? So it's like, well, if we're going down, let's do one final Hail Mary, make as much money as we possibly can to keep to ourselves before we leave the company. That's what they're claiming has happened, and I could see that. I think we could all see that was the situation. No, that's what Bobby Kotick wanted, right? With his top dogs at the top, who are his best mates. They only start considering Microsoft pleading with them to let them buy them as soon as shit hits the fan and Bobby gets exposed. The lawsuit claims that the deal is not in the best interests of Activision Blizzard, Watson, nor company stockholders, and will produce lucrative benefits for the officers and directors up at top, but not obviously for stockholders. It's called the SEC filing on February 18th, setting terms of the deal materially misleading and incomplete. So, did that all make sense, guys? What this article's getting at here? Activision Blizzard, basically, Bobby Kotick and the guys up top, they're not going to go down with the ship. They're going to get rich, grab all the money, drop it into the lifeboat and do one, hoping that they'll get the last remaining lifeboat to themselves. And unfortunately, I could see this a mile off. I already could see this was the case. There's a reason that 3 days after getting exposed, Bobby received a call off Phil Spencer. You know what I mean? And he accepted it. There's a reason why Bobby Kotick is now selling Activision, emerging, and getting a huge payout at the end of it. It's the payout that he wants. Of course he'll leave. He'll leave a very happy and richer man. But is this in the interests of Activision? Well, this stockholder, this stakeholder, shareholder, whatever you want to call him, Kyle Watson, seems to think it won't be beneficial for Activision at all. That it all seems incomplete to them. That there's no substantiated reason why this deal should be made to benefit Activision long term. So I wanted to ask you guys: do you think this is legit? Do you think this is a fair assessment from this shareholder, from Kyle Watson, or do you think Activision will benefit from Xbox more?
I think it's a money play. I think this shareholder wants more money.
Yeah,
that's what I honestly think. I mean, how can being attached to one of the biggest companies in the world not be a good thing for the company?
That's a really good point.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think his reasonings are a bit. They'll pay him off. They'll give him some money. He'll be happy. He'll go away.
Yeah,
almost get him.
You're absolute for spitting facts there, bro. Flipping it, that's all we needed to know. Time to end the show on that bombshell. No, David Faulkner's put, it's not uncommon for shareholders to do this. This is the issue with remunerating executives and senior managers with stock options rather than straight dollars. The flip side of the coin for ensuring they have skin in the game. Yeah, spitting facts, David. The shareholder would get a massive premium, and this is a cash grab for sure. Retro, yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, bro. At the end of the day, this is just a disgruntled shareholder wanting to make big money. And yeah, I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. Anyone else have thoughts on this? Wilhelm, Akira? Nope. Well, Bobby Kotick definitely is laughing. He's laughing to the bank, but I don't think that means doom and gloom for Activision, because at the end of the day, the percentage of Activision that Bobby is taking with him is extremely small in the greater scheme of things. Yeah, it's a lot of money for a scumbag to have, and it's not justice, is it? But at the same time, Activision Blizzard seem to already be making better decisions since this deal has been put in motion, such as delaying Call of Duty for a year. As a consumer of Xbox, I don't see what it really does for Xbox consumers, but that's a whole different story in the short term anyway. Apart from day one on Game Pass, maybe and that's a big if contractual obligations allow. We have no idea if a contract was signed saying that for at least a year of this game being on PlayStation platform, because PlayStation fund the development of Call of Duty. They always contribute a large sum of money to Call of Duty, and that's how they get these deals with them. That it can't go onto a subscription service. They could have these deals in the fine print, stopping Game Pass from receiving Call of Duty anytime soon. But that's an if, right? But either way, that would be for the short term the only immediate benefit. But regardless of consumers, the big thing is this shareholder, is likely just trying to make make a buck. So yeah, I think you summed it up pretty awesomely there, Retro dude. And David Faulkner to compliment. It's a shame he's not on the mic, but he's definitely contributing.
I know, he brings so much, doesn't he, whenever he's on, like, you get so much info out of him, like.
Facts. Flipping wizard, isn't he?
Like.
The shareholder for Activision having a whinge isn't damaging to Microsoft if the deal is rejected, though. But it is going to be an additional expense, you know, like, if this goes to a trial, if he doesn't accept a payoff straight away, it's going to look at even more extortionate costs and fees, and this is going to, you know, Activision are one very expensive baby for Xbox right now, or for Microsoft rather. What were the estimates in the chat, David? Roughly, like, it could reach maybe 80 billion at this rate, if before all is settled. But don't be sorry, dude. It's great. It's great that you've been able to contribute in spirit and in text. Glad that you're listening in, David, bro. Well, I guess if nobody else has got anything to contribute to that topic, you know, I was expecting it to be a bigger subject, but you just so eloquently kind of shut that shit down, bro, so well. Retro. It was freaking awesome. Honestly, it was a bombshell. It was a mic drop moment. I freaking loved it. Phenomenally done. But yeah, this deal could cost 80+ billion by the end of it.
It's a lot of money, isn't it, really? But they're gonna make so much out of it, like, you know what I mean? Like, because Call of Duty is big, you know what I mean, and have got some of those mobile games and stuff. So it's a lot of money to us, but I don't think it's much to Microsoft, man. I think they're just they can eat up the short term losses if they can get this Game Pass stuff on track and start bringing in some money. You know what I mean? It's all been worth it, but it's all ifs and buts at the minute, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Facts. Yeah, spitting, bro. So should we ask the question? Was Activision a huge mistake? All this extra cost included for Xbox?
I don't know. I mean, as far as I'm aware, everything that's third party staying third party, and all of their money making stuff is third party. So, I mean, is it going to benefit Xbox? Maybe not. Microsoft, definitely.
The problem, the only issue why I think it's a problem for Xbox is it restricts them a lot more now. Because with this deal going through, if this deal goes through, they won't be able to see a really awesome publisher and go, oh, I want them.
Here, wait there. Sorry, David just corrected me. He says for Microsoft, it is a big buy if it's in cash. Sorry, I stand corrected.
For Microsoft, there is a big what?
Basically, I said it wouldn't. To me, it wasn't a big buy from Microsoft, but he's saying if it's in cash, it is a big buy.
Yeah, they're not actually made of money to the degree that we assume. They're still a business. They still have a ceiling, you know, of expenditure. They already are pumping out. Yeah, they're making a shit ton of money, but they're already pumping out a shit ton of money into other ventures. So I think.
But that's why I follow David, man. That's a perfect example of why everybody should be following David.
They have, I think his statistics were, correct me if I'm wrong, David, but they have about 160 billion of what's the word? What's the term? Investment money, investment funds that are currently will take at least 6 months to a year to see any return on. So their cash in hand is around 20 billion. In terms of what they're able to just like freely pocket money, basically. The rest is money they own, but they yet do not have. It's money that they will have down the line. I'm not very good at explaining shit. That's why we need David on. But no, facts that they're not the richest. They are the richest, yeah, but even that has limits. I mean, look at 50 Cent. What happened to him? But no, I think we've already exhausted that topic. But it was interesting anyway to read. You know, here's a shareholder having a go, edging his bets.
I mean, I don't blame him. I'd probably do the same.
Yeah, you get a big payout for it, bro. But he seems to have tried to do his research, and he was maybe it was bluffing. I know, like he's going to take it to court. Activision Blizzard issued a statement. We disagree with the allegations made in this complaint and look forward to presenting our arguments to the court. That was the moment he realized he fucked up. No, but yeah, shareholders do that a lot apparently. But no, awesome stuff, guys. Thank you very much for an incredible show. And it's been a bit of a weird one tonight due to lower numbers. I've been ill. I had a funny turn on Thursday, and spent too much time in bed, so my head's still a bit fried from that and a bit fuzzy. But I'm really glad that we got Retro on as well as Doomsayers, and I'm sorry we got a little bit sidetracked in terms of topics, guys. I hope you feel your time wasn't disrespected. I certainly feel like it's been a fire convo, with a mic drop moment at the end from Retro, which was awesome. It was like a oh shit moment. But yeah, we'll wrap this show up, and we'll have a background outro playing so people can still talk in the chat. If they want to finish the conversations, they can do. But Retro, thank you for coming on, man. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at the Family Man Gamer or XTSX Retro. And also you can find me on Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays on the Doomsayer Network podcasts. Other than that, hit me up on the PlayStation, man. We'll play some games.
You need to add me on PSN, bro, so we can play some Elden Ring. That would be awesome. Do you have Elden Ring yet?
Not yet, but it is something I plan on getting. It's just, as soon as, I'll be honest, once Gran Turismo comes out, I'm going to be looking at very little of anything else.
Makes sense. Well, anyone who's looking to partner up with on Elden Ring, hit me up on PSN. Wooly_gamer. That's my US account, and I'm using that for Elden Ring. So, defo hit me up on that. It would be awesome to jam Elden Ring out with you guys.
Wait, why are you using an American account to play your American games?
Well, I share it with a friend so he can play games as well. And so
yeah, but
I pick and choose. But the problem is because long story short, because he has access, he uses my American account. He sets that as his primary on his console, so he can play my games on his account. I can't play my games on my main account. I have to play my games on the account that I bought them. So it's
I understand that.
It's frustrating, but it is, but it's fine. I'm fine with it. But yeah, hit me up, Wooly_gamer. My main account is Wooly Gamer, so hit me up on both if you want, and we'll jam it out on Elden Ring, guys. Whoever in the chat fancies that. And yeah, sounds awesome, Compost Smurf. Just don't preach Game Pass to me down the mic. I'm only kidding. It's Phil Spencer, isn't it, Wooly? I love it. Thank you for an awesome show. Mr. Wilhelmowski, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter under @MaximusWilhelm. And please, guys, do check out Civi11's channel. He's really awesome. And I hope you all had an enjoyable night.
Awesome stuff. And last but by no means least, Akira, where can we find you? You can find Akira, guys. Because he's...
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro.
Yeah, just on Twitter. Just on Twitter, Akira 92421. Just on Twitter, I'm not as much as active as I was for now because I'm busy playing. Otherwise, I love talking about gaming and from the East, and some takes here and there, some hot takes here and there. I'm trying to avoid them as well. Yeah, just trying to choose peace more nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Fantastic. Guys, stay awesome. Thank you for an awesome show. Don't be a donut. Use your noggin. And GG.
Don't be a donut.